defense. Felt like we knew Booker wanted to take that last shot, and Tuck played great defense on him and made him turn his back and turn right into me. So I guess it was just in the right place at the right time.
Paul for three. Game over! Bucks win! 123 to 119. It is 3-2 Bucks.
You got to enjoy the moment, okay? We have to enjoy the moment. Like winning a game on the road, we have to enjoy the moment. But the job is not done. We have to all realize that, you know, and we got to stay in the present.
Believe it!
The most amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending.
It's DA's top story.
Here he goes!
It's your cold open.
That's Drew Holiday and Giannis. That, of course, Ted Davis on Bucks Radio as well with your calls. You can't say that the Bucks won't take heat if they lose these next two games. You can't say the Bucks are out of the woods yet if they do end up losing at home in a game 6 and then unable to close in a game number 7. So there is still, of course, another level to get to. There is, of course, a desperate Suns team that's been one of the best teams in basketball all season long, that has a wonderful coach and a tremendous floor general and an elite scorer in Devin Booker. And they are desperate and they want to go back home to game 7, because if they come back for game 7 in Phoenix, they absolutely believe they will win that game. So they are not out of the woods yet talking about the Milwaukee Bucks. But in terms of the narrative of underachievers, I don't think you can say that anymore. I don't think there's any way you can point to this franchise and this group of guys and this coach and coaching staff. I don't think you can say they're underachievers, because now they have forced a deciding game 6 and a perhaps game 7 in an NBA Finals against a team that was favored against them. Now, granted, the odds did slide to the Suns because of the injury to Giannis. Had Giannis been healthy throughout the Eastern Conference Finals, it looked like the Bucks would open up in the NBA Finals as the favorites. That did change based on injury. However, opening up this series, if you would have told anybody, hey, guess what? The Bucks are going to force a game 6 at home up 3-2, everybody would be impressed. If you said the Bucks would fall behind 2-0 and then rattle off 3 straight and do so with incredible clutch plays in the fourth quarter, people would be shocked. To me, we cannot label these guys anymore as underachievers. Again, if they're unable to close here, you might be able to say, look, again, a great spot for them, and they couldn't close. But in terms of what their expectations are versus what their accomplishments are, what they have shown in the last 2 games, what they have shown really in the last 3 games, is an incredible resilience like they've seen and shown the entire postseason. And that resilience is, no matter what the setup is in the series, no matter what the situation is in the game, no matter if the momentum's for them or against them, the Bucks have found a way. They have found a way. They found a way against the Nets. They dispatched of the Heat in the first round. They found a way against the Hawks. They've now found a way against the Suns and done it late in games with the block by Giannis on the lob pass 2 games ago, and then the steal and the lob and the flush in game number 5. And I've talked about this ad nauseum. Teams can only do something, accomplish something for the first time once. And you can't keep saying they'll never do it, they'll never do it, they'll never do it, because ultimately every team has to do it for a first time. And this is what the Bucks are doing. So I think from a Giannis perspective, how much credit and respect he's earning on a game-by-game basis is huge. I think Chris Middleton is doing the same thing. Middleton is proving himself to be a worthy number 2. Drew Holiday has come up with 2 huge defensive plays in games number 4 and games number 5. And if the Bucks finish this thing off, Drew Holiday is going to be a hero for his entire life in the city of Milwaukee. Mike Budenholzer has made adjustments and changes and been creative in this series to try to stem the tide, to try to change momentum, to try to get more out of his lineup, and it's worked. And a front office that may have looked like it was barking up the wrong tree by investing that much money in Chris Middleton and making the acquisition of Drew Holiday and assuming those guys were good enough as a big 3 are being validated. The front office is being validated. The journey's not over. The championship's not complete. There's at least another level to get to for the Bucks. But in terms of the, quote, underachiever label, how can you ever say that again about it? At the very least, they're going to push perhaps the best team in basketball this year, whether you believe in the Jazz or not, to a Game 7, having fallen behind 0-2. To me, that's already special. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227, or on Twitter, DA on CBS. So much on game number 5 of the NBA Finals. What a finish it was. What a series this has become. When we come back, let's talk college football. Penn State's been oftentimes referred to as linebacker U. LSU has been defensive back U. It feels like Oklahoma's becoming quarterback U. We'll tell you why coming up next. DA, CBS Sports Radio. The summer is here. Sunnier days are here, and a good night's rest helps you make the most out of this season because quality sleep helps boost your energy, your recovery, and your well-being. Sleepers who routinely use their Sleep Number 360 smart bed features and the Sleep IQ technology get almost 100 hours more of proven quality sleep per year. Now, according to the Sleep Foundation, consistent sleep strengthens your immunity system, which is huge, and lack of sleep can literally make you sick, unable to meet the challenges of the day. If you and your charges establish a sleep routine, you all win health benefits. My sleep number setting is a 35. My wife's is a 50. And we knew after a long weekend where we had a lot of stuff that we got done, we knew on a Sunday evening, it was like after dinner, let's just lay in bed because we will fall asleep immediately. We can't wait to hit that mattress. We love it. Discover proven quality sleep. Save now on Sleep Number 360 smart beds and adjustable bases, starting at just $10.99. Only for a limited time at Sleep Number stores or sleepnumber.com/DA.
It's the DA Show, only on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Mornings on CBS Sports Radio.
What a nice story. That mother, imagine the pain in her heart. And to find your daughter to that, oh, that's incredible. I'm like fluttered.
DA on CBS Sports Radio.
All those emotions coming all over you. 23 minutes past the hour. DA with you here on CBS Sports Radio. We appreciate you being with us and doing more. Sponsored by the Home Depot. DIY means sawdust, work gloves, and the right tools like the Home Depot's mobile app with built-in image search and ability to access an entire rental department with a swipe. Download the app to get started. The Home Depot, how doers get more done. Michael Conforto, a 2-run home run of the 9th inning yesterday to propel the Mets to a dramatic come-from-behind victory over the Pirates in a game where they trailed 6-0 after an absolutely nightmarish first inning that saw Taijuan Walker take a ball that he thought was foul and just toss it into the dugout, which meant bases loaded clear. That's a 6-run first inning. The Mets had trailed 6-0 after one, came back to win 7-6. So on the simulcast front, everybody, we are still working on the live feed for watchda.com and Twitch, but we do have a live feed going on YouTube. Yes, this has been the great workaround over the last couple of days.
Oh, okay.
Andrew Kaplan, the wizard of Watch DA, has left no rock unturned. He has said, we will get this show live come hell or high water. The viewers demand it. And one thing maybe we didn't realize was how many of you watch the show every day. We knew it was popular. We didn't quite know it was this popular. And so there has been an outcry. DA, get this damn show live again so I can watch the histrionics, the ridiculousness, the absurdity. My favorite sitcom on radio. So he said, fine, we've got to get this thing done. And so right now we are streaming on YouTube. Live simulcast is going on YouTube these days. You can simply go to youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Find our live simulcast there. You could watch us there. And we are continuing to work out the kinks and put the Gremlins in high alert. No, we're coming for you, Gremlins. But you see, we're getting this thing done for you. So you could watch us there. I've tweeted out the link to it. But check us out. Find us on YouTube at CBS Sports Radio's channel there. You could watch us this morning and perhaps every morning from here on out. Who knows? Maybe this is an experiment that ends up changing everything.
Electronically ignorant.
Well, then you're screwed. How about Oklahoma and its run of Heisman Trophy winning or number one draft pick or future NFL or college record-breaking quarterbacks? OU has had a number of them, and now they may have just added another one as they end up getting the commitment of a 5-star quarterback. And when you look at Lincoln Riley and you look at how they've kind of built this thing at Oklahoma, I think when Bob Stoops retired, it certainly felt as though there was going to be a step down. I mean, how could you expect that much success that often the same way? How could you possibly expect that considering Stoops is a Hall of Fame caliber guy? But Lincoln Riley's done an amazing job keeping that train rolling and getting the elite quarterbacks in there and making the elite quarterbacks believe this is their best shot at an NFL career. And so now it's 5-star quarterback in the class of 2023, Malachi Nelson, who committed to the Sooners via CBS Sports HQ. He's the number 5 overall prospect in his class, according to 24/7 Sports, and had offers from Alabama, LSU, Ohio State, USC, and Notre Dame. It's a big deal that Oklahoma now can beat USC to a quarterback, can beat Alabama to a quarterback, can beat LSU and Ohio State to a 5-star quarterback. But Nelson said the connection that he had with the coaching staff was one that made him feel like he had to go there. And I'm sure when you're a 5-star quarterback and perhaps the second best quarterback in the class behind only Arch Manning, and you look at all of these guys that have come through OU and been a Heisman Trophy winner or been a number 1 draft pick, whether it's Baker, Kyler Murray, whatever Spencer Rattler turns into here, you're going, this is my train. This is the car of the train I want to be on. They've proven it. Now, it's pretty wild because Oklahoma can't seem to win a game in the college football playoff. And Oklahoma's defense is never good enough to win a national championship. But in terms of producing these number 1 draft picks or Heisman Trophy winners or elite quarterbacks, OU's doing it. And just the day before Malachi Nelson gave his verbal, they also got 4-star Traywon Webb as another 4-star blue chip recruit. So OU's stacking talent, and OU now has the reputation, and OU now has high schoolers who are saying, I've seen that guy and that guy and that guy do it before, so I want to be the next guy. Nelson had a 6-game season in the spring in California last year. He had 23-4, 23 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He's 6'3", 180. And again, a guy that in many years prior, that will be a USC kid. California kid, 5-star prospect. That's going to be your next big USC quarterback. But instead, he decided in Oklahoma, and there's a reason for it. 855-212-4CBS is the phone number. On Twitter, DA on CBS. I was out on Friday, Summer Fridays. How did the show go on Friday?
I think it went extremely well on Friday. We had a little fun. We had some laughs. We predicted Space Jam may be good, maybe stinks. And there was a portion in time where I think me and Bogusch both predicted a Suns victory, and we're ready to dance on you today, and we were rightfully wrong.
Why would you guys do that?
Predict the Suns victory or
Well, willingly predict a Suns victory just to dance on my grave.
Well, I think the dancing on the grave thing was tongue in cheek. I think the purpose of it was we spent a whole week throwing bouquets on the show at the Bucks. We said, are we going to forget that the Suns still have 2 home games here? And it led into a little bit of a conversation of DA really licking his chops, loving the Bucks in this series. And I had my hands together, ready for that. So did Bogues, and we were wrong. And we have to tip our cap to you.
So Bogues also wanted me to be wrong?
I shouldn't speak for him. I don't think he wanted you to be wrong, but I think there was definitely a part of Bogues discussing Friday on the air where he didn't necessarily think I was wrong in my takes that you've been crushing me for.
Pete's nodding over there on the side. So, Pete, Bogish wanted me to be wrong?
No, I just was saying that he's there for him to speak.
I see.
Hey, Pete. No, I wouldn't say that I wanted you to be wrong. That's not why I thought I wanted the Suns to win. I just thought they're going to win the game in game 5 and be up 3-2 this morning. And then we could have had fun with you and Sean, but it began with basketball thoughts, getting the Suns a win in game 5.
You realize, though, Bogues, aligning yourself with Mraz's takes is usually a losing proposition.
Yeah, but this was this is a regular take. There was nothing, normal Sean about it. It wasn't bombastic. It wasn't petty. It wasn't trollish. We just thought for basketball reasons, we thought Chris Paul.
You're too trusting. You're too trusting. You're a great man. You're not wired like this. Remember, Mraz's Nets lost to the Bucks. And so every part of him wants the Bucks to lose. And so he's going to find every reason to say, wow, how about the other team? And that's what you fell into the trap of. You're not as duplicitous, as subversive as he is, but that's where his takes come from.
Are you calling me a mental midget here?
No.
Weak in the brain? I let Sean get inside and manipulate and pull me in?
You're trusting you're a good guy. He's not. And so once you start forgetting that about him is when you don't realize that that's what he's doing.
Sean, you want to step in here and defend yourself, or we're just going to let this happen?
I've made this argument numerous times. The oldest thing I love doing is I want my team to lose to the eventual champion if they're going to lose. I've said it since I was in 5th grade. I will say it today. So I am not rooting against the Bucks for that reason. I think in a weird way, I went from not caring to actually rooting against the Bucks for DA. I don't know. But regardless, Drew Holiday made a championship play, and I'm wrong.
You see, folks, he's not even looking at it from a basketball standpoint. It's all through his own selfish lenses. He wants me to be wrong.
I guess. We also need to explore, which we should have probably done on Friday, like the people that were screaming Suns sweep, why they hurt you so much that you are now on this Bucks crusade to get them the respect that you think that they're missing out on. Yeah.
Well, look, I think this is what happened. I think that I see a lot of this happen in our sports media all the time. Overreaction to everything that happens and immediate disrespect to teams that have accomplished something if anything goes wrong. And it happens in the NBA Finals quite a bit because, of course, there's 7 games. Unlike a football playoff or something like that where there's only 1 game series. But this happens all of the time. We overreact to everything because, of course, the way our business is built is you have to have opinions after everything that happens because we've got to fill 4 hours a day. And everybody has to fill hours upon hours upon hours a day. So what ends up happening after the Suns take the first 2 games is this pendulum dramatic swing to, you see, the Suns have been the best team in basketball long, that this backcourt's unstoppable, that the Bucks aren't actually that good. And everybody starts looking at those 2 games as though they're the only 2 games that'll be played. And I just always resist that. You know me, I've always resisted against the commonalities of our sports industry. I find a lot of it to be distasteful and annoying and obnoxious and something I can't even listen to. Noxious is the best word. And so I heard so much of that. And I'm like, yes, the Suns are really good. And yes, they deserve a lot of credit for the first 2 games. But why do we automatically then have to disrespect the team that they're playing? And so when I heard people say Suns in 4, I'm like, Suns in 4? We can't even let the Bucks get a home game before we've said they'll never even win a game. And so whether it's Suns in 4, Suns in 5, or anything like that, it wasn't about anything more than just our industry does this constantly. And like, it'll happen after week 1 of the NFL season. Whoever wins week 1 It's wow. Is that team going to go to the Super Bowl? And the teams that lose, wow, is this season over? And I always resist that. I always resent that because it's such a ridiculous dance that we do.
And you know that's coming if the Bucs beat the Cowboys in week 1.
No doubt.
That will be the take on
Or
Friday
the
morning.
flip side will be, is this the year the Cowboys finally get over the hump? And is Brady already lost it?
Might as well put the cold open together now.
I mean, right. We might as well edit that together now.
Oh my, did anybody think of this now? I didn't think of me until you just brought that up and brought up the overreaction. We could have the first year ever where both Bucs are champions.
Would that, can you add that to Tampa Bay? Is that a Tom Brady?
Because Tampa doesn't have a basketball team. So by extension, the other franchise named the Bucs wins and they win in the NBA, a Bucs and Bucs year.
Yeah, it's never happened before.
Never happened that both Bucs won a championship in the same year.
Has there ever been a year where the Milwaukee Bucks or the Tampa Bay Bucks won and the Pirates won a championship?
I don't think so, because we'd have to go back to Willie Stargell. No way were the Tampa Bay Yucks either existing or winning then.
Right. Although, 1971, the Milwaukee Bucks win the NBA Finals, and Roberto Clemente and the Pirates win the World Series.
So there's been multiple Buck years before.
This will be, if they can close, the second ever multiple Bucks championship year.
So if the Milwaukee Bucks are going to win a championship, if you're the Pirates or Tampa Bay Bucks going forward, you have a shot because Bucks come in too.
Even though we're crossing species at this point.
AB has our headline this morning. Mr. Bogues, where do we begin?
We begin with Credit Karma Money. Open your free FDIC insured account with no minimum balance, no overdraft fees, and free withdrawals. Go to creditkarma.com. So while we wait for Game 6 of the finals, we had both national teams finishing up their exhibition schedules in Vegas. The American men handling Spain 83-76. New addition Keldon Johnson, 15 points, 7 of 9 shooting. Greg Popovich thinks his team is headed in the right direction as it leaves for Tokyo today.
We just had our 6th practice the other day, and after these exhibition games, that's what we look for, getting better at both ends of the court, learning how to play with each other because these guys have never played together before. And I think we're on the right track.
The women flying happy today as well after getting their first win in Vegas, 93-62 over Nigeria, whom they face in their Olympic opener next Tuesday. Asia Wilson had 16 points and 10 boards last night. We also had U.S. men's soccer yesterday, a 1-0 win over Canada to claim Group B in the Gold Cup. That American goal from Shaq Moore just 20 seconds into the game. The U.S. plays Jamaica or Costa Rica in the quarterfinals next weekend in Dallas. Baseball last night, rubber game in the Bronx, and the Yankees won it 9-1 over the Red Sox. Aaron Boone will take it.
As tough as it's been, it's another winning series, and that's 3 in a row now against some really good opponents. So we just got to keep that going, and keep finding ways to win ball games.
The Yanks are 4 games over 500, 7 behind Boston, who has dropped 6 of 8. In the afternoon, the White Sox blanked the Astros 4-0. They've won 7 of 8, and the Phillies took 2 from the Marlins, 4-2 in 10, then 7-4. Phillies won 10 of 14, trails the Mets by 2 games in the NL East. Colin Morikawa is the champion golfer of the year.
When I hear that, champion golfer of the year, it gives me chills, to hold the claret jug, to be here in England, winning my second major with my first British, special.
Morikawa, a 2-shot win over Jordan Spieth at
Spieth.
Royal St. George's yesterday. He is the first ever to win 2 majors in his debut, having done so at the PGA Championship. Morikawa's 2 majors in 8 starts. Those are the fewest since Bobby Jones back in 1926. Coco Gauff is out of the Olympics after testing positive for COVID. We also have 6 British track athletes plus 2 coaches in isolation in Tokyo as close contacts to a positive on their flight to Japan. And NHL teams had to submit their protected list for the Seattle expansion draft by yesterday. The Kraken could now pick Blues winger Vladimir Tarasenko, Canadiens goalie Carey Price, and Alex Candy Killorn of the Lightning. The expansion draft is on Wednesday night. DA, back to you.
2 things on the British Open. What did you call Colin Morikawa? What are they officially? The title is?
He is the champion golfer of the year. That is their moniker.
Voila.
How stuffy is that? How British is that? That when you win the British Open, it's not that you've won a tournament. You are what? The champion golfer of the year?
Yeah. And no qualification, not like the British champion, like you're the best in the world because we do it the best. This is the hardest to win.
Right.
So you are just the champion of the year.
Yeah. So it's basically like if the Jaguars won that London game, crowning them the champion of the year. Forget the Super Bowl. Forget that any other champion. You are now the champion golfer of the year, Colin Morikawa, which is just so British. Number 2, every time I heard Louis Oosthuizen on the leaderboard, I immediately thought about Pete playing the allegory. Louis Oosthuizen.
Louis Oosthuizen. Oosthuizen.
The entire weekend, every time, because he finished 3rd. Every time I heard Oosthuizen's name, I said to myself, Louis Oosthuizen.
Oosthuizen. Louis Oosthuizen.
We almost killed poor Marco with all these drops on Friday, just peppering him with every possible
Phil
name.
Mickelson. Tom Watson. Bubba Watson.
Louis Oosthuizen.
Oosthuizen. Louis Oosthuizen.
Oosthuizen. Thank you, folks. When we come back here on the
Oosthuizen.
It's a momentous Monday. We give you an inspirational story across sports. DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Smiling like little Mo every morning. It's a momentous Monday.
Every day can be a better day despite the challenge. All you gotta do is leave it better than you found it. It's gonna get difficult to stand, but hold your balance. I just say whatever, cause there is no way you're around it.
I just think people should know that if you stay positive, everything will be fine. You just eat, drink, and breathe positive thoughts. That's all you gotta do, and everything will be good.
So there's going to be some awesome Olympic stories coming up here as we head into the 2021 Tokyo Olympics. And Eddie Alvarez of the U.S. baseball team, I think, is going to be one that you're going to want to focus on, because Eddie's family came here from Cuba trying to escape Fidel Castro's regime. So Alvarez's family comes here to the States, settles in Miami. And in Miami, he becomes an elite inline skater. And he is so good at it that he ends up making the Olympic team. And as an inline skater, he makes the switch to ice skating. And so he's on the 4-man short track U.S. team that in the 2014 Winter Olympics in Sochi falls just 0.2 of a second behind the Russians in the 5,000-meter relays. So Eddie Alvarez is an ice skater, comes to Miami as an inline skater, or develops into an inline skater. His family comes to Miami and switches to ice skating. So just imagine that in and of itself, a Miami kid being on Team USA's ice skating team. And they win the silver. And obviously, he has great memories of the 2014 Sochi Olympics. But he ends up saying, my true passion is baseball. And so he wanted to go back and play baseball. And so he had to end up gaining 35 pounds because, of course, when you're skating, you're an ice skater, you're much more light on your feet. You've got to be nimble and agile and quick. He puts on 35 pounds and starts trying out for scouts. He drives the country trying out for scouts in baseball. He drives to Arizona, he drives to Florida. He ends up getting a tryout with the Marlins and landing it. And now he is going to be on Team USA in the Olympics for the baseball team. And he, at 31 years old, is going to end up competing in the Olympics as both an ice skater for Team USA and a baseball player for Team USA, 6 years apart. So just an extraordinary, 7 years apart, an extraordinary story. Again, from a young man whose family came here from somewhere else trying to find a better life. So all of that to me is just awesome. And there's going to be so many of these types of stories. So I can't wait to help bring them to you and to watch the Olympics. I know the Olympics aren't everybody's cup of tea, but I really like the Summer Olympics. I get into them. So I'm excited about this, and it should be a lot of fun. But Eddie Alvarez, what an awesome story. No matter what, you get to dictate your terms. No matter what, if you've got a dream, keep going after it. No matter what, don't let anybody say, nah, you can't do that. Who would ever think a kid from Miami could end up being in the Winter and Summer Olympics for Team USA? Totally awesome. Hit me up on Twitter, DA on CBS. Again, DA on CBS. Follow me and tweet at me. Speaking of little Mo, who inspired that segment, because Mo was always just totally positive, found the silver lining in everything. His attitude was, I get to decide every single day whether I'm happy or not. And even though he had situations that he dealt with in life that would make anybody unhappy and would take the life out of any person who was dealing with chemotherapy and multiple different cancers that took away his sight and took away his strength and took away everything health-wise, he made a decision every single day. Either I'm going to be happy or sad. I get to decide. And it's a really powerful lesson, and one that he taught me that I try to take with me every single day. But the Orioles, there is a potential Little Mo day that the Orioles have been kicking around. And so if there is some info on that, I'll try to pass that along to you. That might be something in early August that I try to get down to Baltimore for. But either way, you know, Mo meant so much to so many people, including the sports teams and franchises in Baltimore, that they all want to honor him. And he was in Mo's Rose last year, remember, at Baltimore Ravens games, and they highlighted the MO in Baltimore in the Ravens end zone. Now the Orioles want to hold a day for him and induct him into their Hall of Fame. And so there's just a lot of cool stuff going on because, man, you get to change the world with your attitude. He did that. He was incredibly inspirational, and just goes to show you what positive attitude and positive thinking can bring. So coming up here on the show, we got a lot to get to this morning in the final 3 hours of the program. Tim Tebow's reality might be setting in with training camps just around the corner. Also, football-wise, some shots taken at Matthew Stafford, deserving or not, we shall discuss. And from a basketball standpoint, of course, we're going to talk about what Game 5's win meant to the city of Milwaukee, the franchise of the Bucks, and what it means for the NBA Finals going forward. And what would it cost you to go to Game 6 of the NBA Finals if you were a Bucks fan? How much would you cough up to go there and be part of that experience? I have never been at a World Series clincher of my team. I've never been at a Super Bowl clincher of my team. I've never been at an NBA Finals of my team. I didn't get to go to the national championship game in 2003 when Syracuse won with Carmelo. So I don't know what that's like. I've always felt like that must be the greatest experience ever. But the cost of being in the building at Fiserv Forum tomorrow night is through the roof. So we'll discuss that coming up this morning on the show as well. And Justin Termini is going to join us from Sirius XM NBA Radio. Interestingly, last weekend, now a little over a week ago, I was at a dinner party and Justin's name came up, and a very funny story was told to me about Justin. So I said, we got to have Justin on the show, not only to talk about the NBA Finals, but also so I can relay this story to him and see if this is true or not. So a lot to get to this morning on the show. But speaking of the NBA, Damian Lillard has strong words for his franchise, and people are wondering whether he's going to be traded. Could Dame have a new home by next year? That's next. It's DDA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
that white breast that just falls apart and comes into my mouth, and it's juicy and your flavors dance. And then those moisture pellets electrify the spicy pellets that are already in your mouth. And then now you got a party. You got Ricky Martin playing music in your mouth.
Mornings are hard. Your sports radio show doesn't have to be.
I'm so happy you guys are still alive.
I am excited. I am so happy.
Laugh and learn every morning aboard the mothership.
Ooh. Have a good day. And all my homies gonna ride today. And all these bodies look fly today. And all we wanna do is get by today. Hey, we're gonna have a good day.
It's gonna be a good day with DA.
Hey, duh.
I do love the duh.
Happy Being Alive Day.
Mornings on CBS Sports Radio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Happy Being Alive Day. We come to you live from the Rocket Mortgage Studios. When you need cash out of your home and a simple way to get it, Rocket can. Thanks so much for being with us, everybody. Happy Monday to you. The Milwaukee Bucks are now a win away from their first NBA championship since 1971. There's a dangerous Suns team lurking. Game 6 is tomorrow night in Milwaukee. And the poll question this morning, how much would you spend to be in the building, watch your team win a championship? You can vote in the web poll at CBS Sports Radio on Twitter, at CBS Sports Radio. That will be the subject of our advanced analytics later on in the morning. So we'll talk more about that tremendous game number 5, which had lead changes and the big comeback by the Suns. The comeback as well from the Bucks earlier than the comeback from the Suns. The steal by Drew Holiday, the lob pass to Giannis. Just the decision by Drew Holiday. Just the decision. 2 decisions, actually. To stick those paws in there, to steal it from Chris Paul, because if he's called for a foul, Paul is going to the line with a chance to take the lead, and then to throw the lob pass instead of waiting to be fouled, throwing the lob, the alley-oop to Giannis, where that bounces off of Giannis's hands and out of bounds. That's a turnover, and now the Suns have another shot down by 1. It's just an amazing, amazing series of gutsy, ballsy decisions by Drew Holiday, which is exactly why they brought him in, to be a difference maker in games like this. Damian Lillard's been a far cry from playing in games like this. They made one Western Conference Finals, but got swept by the Golden State Warriors. Other than that, Lillard has basically been a one-and-done opening round series of the playoffs and eliminated type of player, despite his greatness for the Blazers. And after practice with Team USA on Friday, said, quote, "Right now, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. What I can say is my intentions and my heart has always been set on being a Blazer in a Blazer uniform for my entire career. But I think over time you want to win it all. And I want to win it all in a Trailblazers uniform. But we all have to be making strides towards that." Lillard said, quote, "The best way to put it is to be more urgent about what our next step is and how we move forward. We're not a bad team. We're a winning team. We've got a great environment. We've got a great city. We've got great fans. There's a lot of positives. I just think we've reached a point where it's like, okay, it's not enough. Do we actually want to win it all? Is that what we're shooting for? We've got to do things to show that. We've got to put action behind that. That desire to win at that level, that's been my only thing this entire time." End of quote. Boy, I got to tell you, I feel Damian Lillard on this. I feel him. Because I have worked for companies and worked for radio stations and worked for bosses where that we got the show on the air and that it was relatively successful and that sponsors were happy. You know what? Good enough. Don't rock the boat. As long as we're making some type of profit, that's fine. But going the extra mile, no. Slow down here. Going the extra mile, no. Let's walk back those expectations, DA. You're gainfully employed. You have a show with your name on it. We're making a profit. That's good for everybody, okay? And if you are highly competitive, or if you are ambitious, or if you believe you've got a greater potential to reach, and you don't have a support system that believes in that as well, it is incredibly infuriating because you see something to be better in, and the support system, the people above you or the people around you, don't see it the same way. Don't rock the boat. Good is good enough. And I think that's been the trap for the Blazers for a while. And now part of this is the reality of the NBA. The reality of the NBA is so many teams have had to bottom out to get great that if you're making the playoffs every year, even if it's a 7 or an 8 seed, you're caught in a no man's land because you're not bad enough to have a lottery pick. You're not bad enough to have a top 5 pick, but you're not good enough to get by the elite teams of the NBA. The NFL is a little different. The NFL, a team can go from 8-8 to 12-4 in 1 year. Injuries break their way, schedule breaks their way. You know, a draft pick at the end of the first round ends up being way better than you thought. It's not that hard for an 8-8 to become 12-4, same way 12-4 becomes 8-8. In the NBA, rarely does a 7 seed become the 2 seed the next year. Usually not the way that it works. This Suns run is remarkable in that way. From out of the playoffs to a 2 seed of the NBA Finals, it almost never, ever, ever happens. Ever. Unless that team gets an enormous free agent boom in the offseason. You know, when LeBron goes to the Heat, or LeBron goes to the Cavaliers, or LeBron goes to the Lakers, or basically anywhere LeBron has ever gone, you go from out of the playoffs to an NBA championship caliber squad. But that's basically how it goes. And Damian Lillard's probably like, well, unless I get LeBron James on my team, I'm stuck being a 5 or a 6 or a 7 seed, and that's not going to get me anywhere. That gets me a first round and done. So when Lillard speaks like this, I totally get it. Because you know what? A player that was making good money, and there's been plenty of these guys, you make really good money, you're the face of the franchise, you get to take all the last shots, you get endorsements or whatever. You know what? Whether you're a first round exit guy or not, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, you know, no offense, but Carmelo's kind of like that. You know, did his career live and die in winning an NBA Finals? I don't think so. He got to be the man. He got to make a lot of money. He got to take a lot of the final shots. And by and large, that was good. That was good for him. Damian Lillard's not wired that way. He's not. He is not wired that way. And I think Lillard still has a real loyalty to that franchise and doesn't want to have to be traded, doesn't want to have to move, doesn't want to have to give up on what the last 8-9 years have been for him in Portland. I don't think he wants to do that. What he wants to do ideally is win there, is succeed there, is win a championship there. And what he's saying is, I desperately want this. Do you? Do you? Because if so, okay, we can be pals. We can be colleagues. We can be coworkers. If not, then yeah, maybe I do have to move. But that's not my first choice here. And I think things like that are necessary to wake up decision makers. Now, look at Damian Lillard's trajectory and his career and his desires, and look at Giannis. Giannis has been on a team that's been good, but not great enough. And look, Giannis hasn't been great enough at times as well. But it was a franchise that had Giannis fall into their laps. Granted, they did the right scouting and they developed him, et cetera. But how could you ever know Giannis was going to be Giannis? And Giannis needed more help. Giannis needed a new coach, which is why they brought in Budenholzer, and a new offense, which is why they allowed Budenholzer to run that offense. And they needed to pay Chris Middleton, and they needed to add a third piece, which ultimately was Drew Holiday after some other iterations. And it was Milwaukee, which is not a destination for free agents. Neither is Portland. It is not a massive coastal market. It is not a Sun Belt market. It is not a state without state income tax. And it's just not a usual destination for NBA players to flock. So much like Milwaukee, Portland there sits as this amazing basketball town with this amazing fan base that is not one in a really long time. 1971 for Bucks fans, 1977 for Blazers fans. It's been a long time. There's multiple generations. There's mostly fans of the arena that were not alive the last time you won a championship. And look at how beautiful this thing is in Milwaukee. Look at this love affair with the Bucks. Look at what will happen if the Bucks can clinch tomorrow night. Look at what is happening here. You want to do it there. You don't want to. You know, Giannis going to the Heat to win or going to the Lakers to win or going somewhere else to win isn't the same as doing it in Milwaukee. It's not. I'm sorry, but LeBron's most, I'm sure, emotional championship is the one with the Cavs. It's not the two with the Heat or the one with the Lakers. So for Lillard, he's staring at the same thing. It's, I want to do it here. It can be really special here. But do I have the right support system? And maybe Chauncey Billups is the right guy. That was perhaps the first statement that we're not okay with this as being status quo, a 5-seed or a 6-seed and being upset in the first round or exiting in the first round, what have you. So that's the first thing that he probably needed to see from the front office. Not that he wanted Terry Stotts fired, but that there was, this is not good enough. This attitude, this is not good enough. And now the next part is, what does the roster look like? Because again, this roster with CJ McCollum and Melo and a bunch of guys that are good but not great, is this good enough? Obviously not. And Lillard needs to see it. So I don't think there's anything wrong with Lillard being public about this. I don't think there's anything wrong with him making this as the kind of mantra in Portland. Are we ready to do what it takes to be great? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think the Blazers should trade him. I think they should listen to that. I think they should say, okay, let's try to build a champion around Damian Lillard. Easier said than done. But look, the Bucks have proven it's not impossible if you have a centerpiece that you have drafted and developed. They found Chris Middleton in a trade as a second-round draft pick. Drew Holiday is not a superstar, but ends up being a very important piece here. Look at the Bobby Portises of the world. You can build a winner if you have the centerpiece. So many teams didn't have the centerpiece. Lillard is a centerpiece. Can he be as dominant as Giannis? Probably not, because of Giannis's physical power and his ability to score and defend and rebound. Those are things that Lillard can't do on the inside at 7 feet, that Giannis can at 7 feet. But, you know, Lillard is one of the most clutch players of the NBA. He's a guy that clearly makes his teammates better. He's a guy that can be a difference maker defensively. He's a guy that clearly can set up his offensive teammates in that offense. It's not a huge differential. The Blazers should be looking at the Bucks and going, what's their blueprint? How do we replicate that? Because it's There's a lot of similarities there. And it's okay for Lillard to say this and state this, which should be the franchise's mantra. Are we doing enough? 855-212-4CBS is that phone number, or on Twitter, DA on CBS. When we come back, we've got your best audio of the day in sound check, and that includes the crazy moment yesterday where a Major League Baseball pitcher just forgets about where the baseball is, and Fernando Tatis Jr. describes that crazy and scary situation at Nationals Park on Saturday night where gunshots were heard outside the park. DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
CBS presents this program in color.
An educated person can't think he's going to get a recruit by strippers coming in.
They can fire you, but they can't eat you.
And they run through our ass like through a tin horn, man, and we could not stop them.
The audio you need to hear. It's DA Soundcheck.
The simulcast today can be watched on YouTube. If you normally watch us at watchda.com or on Twitch, you can check us out on YouTube this morning. We did this on Thursday's show as well, so check us out. YouTube's channel for CBS Sports Radio is at CBS Sports Radio or youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. We began with the scary situation in D.C. on Saturday night when there were gunshots heard outside the ballpark. Now, people didn't know whether it was gunshots in the ballpark or outside the ballpark. Here was Fernando Tatis Jr. as the Padres were playing the Nats that night.
It was crazy. It was a panic moment, being able just to see everybody running and not making sure what's going on. It's just a moment that you really don't want to be part of. But, we were part of it last night, but thank God everybody was good and safe.
Well, look, ballpark security is pretty good. And you go through metal detectors, and let's hope that we never have a shooting at a ballpark. But unfortunately, the reality of our American society is there's shootings everywhere all of the time, and we don't seem to have any answers to how to stop it, which is dispiriting and depressing and terrifying. And that hopefully it never happens, but we've had them at concerts, and we've had them at movie theaters, and we've had them at schools. So who's to say there won't be a ballpark or stadium incident? Hopefully it never happens. But when this news breaks on Saturday night and people don't know where it's coming from, for me, it wasn't like, oh, there's no way this could happen inside the ballpark, which is awful and terrifying and terrible that that's a reality in 2021 America. But unfortunately it is. And thankfully it was outside. And thankfully there were not more people hurt. But it is this jarring reminder that, wow, no matter where you are, there is no sanctuary in America. Here is Alex Cora as over the weekend, outfielder Alex Verdugo ends up throwing a baseball into the stands at Yankee Stadium to a Red Sox fan. But a Yankee fan gets the baseball and then throws it back on the field and hits Verdugo, who's playing in the outfield, with the baseball in the back. All hell breaks loose. Verdugo is really upset. Cora comes out. He wants to clear his team from the field. Here's Cora explaining it.
I want to get this out of my chest. And I know what I did in 17. I disrespected the game. But one thing I learned last year, and this is something that probably I forgot through my career, this is just a game. It's a game. This is not like life and death, it's not this like drama that people want. And the fact that people come to the ballpark and they decided to throw a baseball to one of the players, I was in shock that happened, and Booney texted me already apologizing. And this is nothing against the Yankee fans, because I do believe they're up there with the best in the business, the best in the world. But that kind of like we lost the game and the rain and all this stuff, whatever. But the fact that Alex got hit by a baseball, it's like, wow.
Was this the game you and the Bayou Bear were at?
No, we went to Friday night's game. This was Saturday night's game.
Okay, so describe to me what happens here in the stands.
Okay. And by the way, this is almost simultaneous with the Drew Holiday block. This is going on Fox. Obviously, nobody really is going to care about the Yankee Red Sox game when the NBA Finals are going on. I only know because both TVs are going. Verdugo, the inning ends. Or, I'm sorry, we're going into an inning, and he has the outfield catch with the center fielder. He takes a ball, and he throws it to a kid. This actually was where I was sitting on Friday night, which is what was funny.
This is why I asked, is this the game that you were at?
It was not, but same idea, and this is how I knew it was going on. They have fun. They throw the ball. There's a lot of Red Sox fans' kids. Some doofus with a glove steps up, obviously gets the ball. The kid doesn't get the ball. Bunch of drunk guys, a Red Sox threw it up to your Yankee fan. Throw it back, throw it back, throw it back. I witnessed balls get thrown back on Friday night as well. Somehow this guy turns into Ichiro with a gun and drills Verdugo in the back with it. I mean, that's a pretty good throw for a fan to do that. And Verdugo, whose back is obviously now facing play, snaps and rightfully so goes nuts. And basically he's looking to climb the fence and go up and fight the fan before being pulled back and went nuts. And they pulled the teams off the field for a little bit to find the fan and figure out what happened.
So when this Yankee fan throws it back, was it like a Wrigley Field? Just throw it back into the field. You caught the home run ball, or was he trying to peg Verdugo?
So I can't tell you what this specific guy was doing, but I haven't been to a game in 2 years. I went to this game and sat in these seats on Friday, and the thing they kept doing was if a Red Sox, I guess because it's a Red Sox, throws a ball to you and you're not a kid or anything like that, and you're an adult Yankee fan, you throw it back like Wrigley. All the fans chant, throw it back, throw it back, throw it back. Should be harmless. The ball, wimply goes on the field. Somehow, I don't know if he was trying to hit Verdugo. He might have been. If he wasn't, I don't know how this fan had a drunken cannon the way he did, but he drills Verdugo in the numbers.
So from where you were sitting, how hard of a throw is it to peg the outfielder?
It takes a good gun. I mean, it probably is only 50 yards, and I guess somebody could do that, but you've got to think about you're throwing it. You're actually facing downward because the stands are going on the field. You got to have a little oomph to it. I would say it's a pretty difficult throw. Like straight-laced, if you were just standing on a field with your buddy, that's fine. Pressure of all the fans in Yankee Stadium chanting at you to throw it back, 50-yard throw, but you have to be pretty precise.
Schwartz would never throw that ball back.
Not a chance. He caught another one this weekend at a Duck game.
Doesn't matter if it's a team that he hates, and he's a Yankee fan. Doesn't matter if that's a Red Sox baseball. He's keeping that baseball. There's no way he's throwing back that baseball. Would you have thrown back a Red Sox baseball with the Bayou Bear on Saturday?
3 years ago, I might have. Today, I absolutely wouldn't have, only because I do think there is the element of me being a dad now has changed me. I have such a soft spot for kids. And like where we were sitting on Friday, there is a zillion kids. And we're talking about kids and young people not being into baseball. If you catch a ball, if I'm going to throw it back and not keep it for myself, I would rather hand it to a kid and make their day. I really would. From what is throwing it back gives me the thrill of a drunk guy slapping my hand over a few Modelo's. I'd rather hand it to a kid, make him smile, and know he went home looking at that baseball in the backseat of the car.
3 years ago, though, you fired that
3 years ago, I drilled Verdugo. Nope, I'm being transparent here. Absolutely. I probably would try to hit him. Yes, I would be an idiot and try to hit him. If I'm throwing it back, I might as well make a name for myself.
Well, this guy ends up getting tossed out of Yankee Stadium in all baseball games forever. So that's not a really good trade-off.
It's not. But again, I ask, how is anybody in Camden Yards going to know he's the guy who hit that field goal? I don't understand that.
Yeah. There's a random 80-year-old ticket taker at Tampa Bay.
Right.
I think you're on the no-fly list, son.
Right. I'm sure his name is blocked at Ticketmaster or whatever for buying tickets, but if his buddy buys him a pair of tickets, he's going to the Sky Dome. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
I'm sorry. You can't get into this Rangers-Mariners game. I know you. You're on a wanted poster inside the ticket office. And finally, this call is epic. So yesterday, the Mets are melting down in the first inning in Pittsburgh, okay? Note that the Mets are in first place and the Pirates are 20 some odd games under 500. And the Pirates are going for the sweep over the weekend. So in the first inning, Taijuan Walker, the Mets pitcher, has already given up 3 runs and the bases are loaded. There's a squibber out of the box along the third base line. It looks like it starts foul, and then it's creeping toward the line. It's a little squibber, and Walker thinks by touching it, when it's in foul territory, it's a foul ball, and he kind of scoops it and tosses it into the dugout area. What he doesn't realize is he scoops it and touches it, and it's on the line. It's on the third base line, so it's a fair ball. So Taijuan Walker officially has made it a fair ball with the bases loaded. So everybody's safe. So the ball is squibbing. He picks it up, tosses it towards the dugout. Listen to the call on AT&T Sportsnet Pittsburgh. It's like the Pirates won the World Series.
They said to go, go, go. It's a fair ball! It's a fair ball! Oh my goodness! It's a fair ball! Do you believe this? It's still in play! Pirates score 3! Oh my gosh! We've seen it all now! We've seen it all! Taijuan Walker! There goes Rojas. He might not be the first. He just bumped the home plate umpire. We have seen it all. Walker shoveled the ball away and it was fair. And the Pirates score 3. Rojas incensed. It takes the whole crew of umpires to keep him away. And some Mets coaches.
I mean, that's how you call a baseball blooper. That's the bottom of the first inning with a Pirate team 20 games under 500. And there is an, oh my goodness, now we've seen everything. My gosh, do you believe it? Like it's Joe Carter.
Fair ball! Do you believe this? It's still in play! Pirates score 3! Oh my gosh!
I mean, look, it's a quirky, silly play. It's a blooper forever, but it's basically like, do you believe in miracles? Yes. My gosh, do you believe it? Taijuan Walker has scooped a ball and tossed it to the dugout. We've now seen everything.
We've seen it all now. We've seen it all. Taijuan Walker. There goes Rojas.
That's how you call a play-by-play. That's how you call a baseball blooper.
And by the way, he hadn't seen it all because the Pirates blew a 6-0 lead and lost.
That's right.
I saw it all.
I mean, you want young kids into baseball? Have the Pirates TV team just call every game. Oh my God, it's a sacrifice bunt. Have you ever seen anything like that? We have now.
They said to go, go, go. It's a fair ball! It's a fair ball! Oh my goodness!
We've seen it all. I've seen a pitcher forget whether it's fair or foul. I've now seen it all in my life. And that is your sound check. Bogues, if you're looking to make a name for yourself in the play-by-play game and get bigger and better gigs, I suggest melting down over everything because obviously it works, especially in baseball.
Yeah, I'll see what I can get out of a Patriot League football game in September. I don't know what the equivalent of this would be, but I'll do my best.
Oh my God! The quarterback threw an incomplete pass on 4th down.
Oh my goodness!
I can't believe it.
It's now 3rd and 7.
On 3rd and 7, the coach called a run play. I've seen it all.
13 minutes left in the first quarter.
Yeah.
The Delaware Blue Hens band is on the field. I mean, it's halftime. They should be here, but they're on the field.
Oh my goodness!
Poor Kadri. I feel bad for him already, having to stand next to me going crazy for no reason.
The band is playing Avril Lavigne. Avril Lavigne. This could really work for you. This could work for Wilkins very well, by the way.
Well, I mean, he's got the Rumble Ponies. They are the Mets. I'm sure they do the same thing as an organization. Just watch guys run on the bases and not pick up a free ball and tag somebody.
He's gonna bow out.
The best part about Taijuan Walker booting this into the dugout and not caring and watching everybody score is that at that point in time, Twitter meltdown was complete. It was, they've quit. They should walk off the field, go home, get on the buses. Season's over. It's a disgrace. Everybody's quit on the field. The Mets are an absolute nightmare. At which point they then come back with a 7-run to come back to win the game.
This is really pathetic.
It's perfect. All right, AB, what do we got on headlines?
All the headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. You could save big when you bundle your auto, home, motorcycle, RV, or boat. Visit progressive.com.
CBS.
Maybe it's time to consider tuning up that Yankee bandwagon one more time. They beat the Red Sox for a second consecutive night, 9-1 in the Bronx. They began to pull away with a 2-run homer from Rougned Odor.
Rugi Odor sent one deep into the night. A 2-run home run. J'adore Odor.
Now, John Sterling has had some time to workshop that one. Odor is not new, but Ryan Lamar is.
Pitch hit in the air to right and deep. Renfroe back on the track, and she is gone. Ryan Lamar lines a home run in the lower seats and right, a 2-run blast, and the Yankees now have a 9-1 lead.
I don't know about you, but he says Ryan Lamar once, and then there's a pause as if he's thinking of something to say, and then goes, nah, I got nothing, and just goes back into a regular home run call.
Did he
So maybe next time Ryan will get a Sterling call.
He always has a home run call. Did he think he had one and then short-circuited and forgot it maybe?
I mean, he was up earlier in the year. He only came back, I think, on Friday, I guess, because of all of their COVID issues. So maybe this caught him off guard. He wasn't prepared for Ryan Lamar to go deep. But I mean, at the very least, he hits one far. I mean, Lamar is an easy rhyme. You got to be able to think of that one on the fly here for John Sterling.
I think you just got to play with the Ryan more than the Lamar.
Okay, what would you say?
Ryan saves his privates deep to left field.
Ryan saves his privates?
Are you trying to kill
like
Susan?
Saving Private Ryan?
Oh, no, I get the reference, but hitting
privates would be the Yankee teammates.
I thought you meant like private parts.
Get your head out of the gutter. Ryan saves his privates.
Privates is in his teammates?
Ryan roars. What a lion. Deep to left.
Sterling's was fine.
Silence was better.
Ryan isn't buying the season over.
Okay, that's probably the best of the three.
All right. I mean, at least I'm giving you a little effort. I didn't hear anybody else chime in.
Terrible, 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 terrible.
Ryan saves his privates?
Susan just faints, and that's the end of her.
Oh my God. Just faints right out of the press box and rolls down 3 sections.
That would be the day.
John, my heart has now given out. His privates, John. Oh no.
By the way, welcome aboard to our new boss, dealing with the fallout of John saving his privates.
I thought it was poetic, Susan. Not his privates, John.
Hey, John, Spike Eskin here. First time, long time. Just wanted to go over your privates call.
The brawl is going on.
Just took over. I'm your new boss. Didn't love the privates call. Can you walk me through that? Well, you know, Spike. I had just seen the Steven Spielberg classic Saving Private. No, I get where the reference comes from. It's this wonderful World War II movie. You should really see the opening scene. It's really devastating to think about the terrors of war. So I was, we get that. But the privates part? No, it was referencing his teammates. Oh.
Are you doing theater tonight? I wish someone would explain it to me. Ryan saves his privates. You're good at it.
Yeah.
You're really good. Yankees lead 5-3.
Yeah.
You're really good. Ryan saves his privates. What?
Scoreboard update, John.
1-800-8-million.
All right. US.
What do you mean 1-800-8-million?
That's what I read. I don't write them. I just read them.
It's the phone number?
You can rent movies on your TV on demand, John? You can watch Save It Private Ryan whenever you want. So I can watch Space Jam at home right now and not go to the theater, John? Just press OK on your cable box. Select purchasers.
Don't have to call 364 View anymore.
And there's websites that give you the times of all theater shows. There's no more movie phone, Susan.
No more movie phone. What about TV Guide?
That doesn't exist anymore either, Susan.
All right, headlines.
All right. Yeah. U.S. men's basketball finished its Olympic tune-ups with an 83-76 win over Spain in Vegas. Damian Lillard had a team-high 19, 14 for Kevin Durant. The U.S. women handled Nigeria 93-62 after dropping their first two exhibitions. Both teams fly for Tokyo today. The men play first there against France on Sunday. U.S. men's soccer held off Canada 1-0 to clinch Group B in the Gold Cup. They will play Jamaica or Costa Rica in the quarterfinals this weekend in Dallas. And Japanese officials first said this morning a member of the U.S. women's gymnastics team had tested positive for COVID. They did not provide a name, only saying she was a teenager. We now know it was an alternate on the team. She is in isolation at the moment. And it deserves repeating, Colin Morikawa is your champion golfer of the year, a two-shot win over Jordan Spieth at Royal St. George's yesterday. Morikawa is the 8th all-time to win two majors before turning 25. That list also includes Spieth, Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, and Jack Nicklaus. DA, back to you.
Thank you, Bogues. Max tweets, hey guys, been a loyal listener, loyal alien for 3 years now. I've missed the past 2 weeks with the passing of my dad unexpectedly. I love the show. I'd love for y'all to give my dad a beam up on the air. Hashtag, can I get a beam up? Hashtag, with bacon. Max, to your pops. No doubt about it. Let's beam them up. We appreciate the patronage, Max. Appreciate the loyalty, man. Hearts go out to you. Obviously, never easy to lose a loved one, especially one unexpectedly, especially a parent. So we feel for you, buddy. And thank you so much for, again, a shout out and coming back to the show. And hopefully we can make you laugh this morning. When we come back here on the DA show on a wonderful Monday, we got a lot to get to when it comes to the NBA Game 6 tomorrow night of the NBA Finals. But when we come back, a little football as well. Is reality finally sinking in for Tim Tebow at Jaguars camp? DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Open now for brunch.
I don't know if you've ever watched him eat. Like, I always have to stop him because I don't know the Heimlich. And I said normal people don't put 10 chips in their mouth at one time. It doesn't count as one bite, Sean.
DA on CBS Sports Radio.
49 minutes past the hour. DA with you here on CBS Sports Radio. Full podcast always available of the show, all 4 hours with limited commercial interruption. Available in podcast form after we're done every day on the air. Or the best of the show is also available in podcast form. Just search the DA Show on your favorite podcast platform.
DA, are you still with me? Okay.
Here is Josh Booty, former NFL quarterback, who was on the Zach Gelb show the other day talking about Tim Tebow's chances at making the Jaguars.
I don't know if he can make the roster because he's undersized. You know, he'd have to be an absolute beast in special teams and play some fullback, H-back, motion guy, short yardage, goal line, maybe a little of what Taysom Hill does in New Orleans. I don't think he's a bona fide tight end. The guys are 6'6", 6'7", 250 in the league, and so he looks like he looks small on the field compared to them. If you've seen some of the pictures taken out on the practice field, I think he's got the heart of a lion. I love him, but I don't know if he's a tight end in the NFL, and I think it's going to be very hard for him to make a team because he's going to be undersized when it comes to blocking and getting in there in the interior and doing something with it, with his feet, moving people around. Everybody knows he's a great locker room guy, but if he doesn't help the team, you can't be on the team. There's no one in the NFL that can't help the team is on a team.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. From Josh Booty's mouth to God's ears. Oh my God. Thank you for saying that, Josh Booty. Thank you for saying that. It doesn't matter how great a locker room guy you are if you can't help the team on the field. There's nobody in the league on any roster that doesn't help the team on the field. And I'm so sick and tired of NFL pundits suggesting that Tim Tebow has a role in the NFL as basically a cheerleader. No, that's not a role. You have to help the team. And here is Booty saying exactly that. Heart of a lion, hard worker. Fine, that's all great. He's not the only hard worker in the NFL. You have to be able to play a productive role at some position. And so what Booty is saying here, listen up, everybody. Tebow's so muscular. He's such an athlete. Man, NFL tight ends are 6'6", 250. Tebow's small compared to them. Oh, and those guys have been catching passes their entire lives. So as Booty says, he'd have to be a beast on special teams. Is he willing to do that? Play some fullback, maybe. Willing to stick your nose in the line? Play some halfback, perhaps? Be a motion guy, short yardage, goal line. Can you do all of that? This is where the Tebow fascination just always falls short. The Tebow is a personality, and Tebow is a character, and Tebow was a wonderful college quarterback. But at 34 years old, to just be in a training camp and assume that, well, because he's Tim Tebow, he's going to make the team is so delusional. And look, I have patience with some of this because most people don't understand how all of the intricacies of roster movement and building works and all of the little things that tight ends have to do, or anybody on special teams, or anybody in any role on the offense or defense for that matter. I mean, people just look at a name and they assume, well, hard worker, good college player, he'll make a team if he wants to make a team. But there's so much that goes into it. And you don't just come out of 7 years of baseball or whatever at 34 years old, having never played the position, then suddenly make the NFL team. And that's why even him making training camps roster, I thought was a joke, because we all know this. If you're around the NFL, you know that this is a lark. I'm hoping, Mraz, that by the time we get to Jaguars training camp in a couple of weeks, this will start becoming more and more evident.
It will be more and more evident because Tebow also is going to have no choice but to play in preseason games. And in preseason games, what is going to be the big draw? It's going to be, oh my goodness, can Tim Tebow play tight end? And we're all going to see it unfold in front of our eyes that Tim Tebow is not going to be able to contribute at an NFL level at tight end. And everybody's going to see for themselves that he has no business on the Jaguar roster.
Is he going to be willing to stick his nose into goal line situations as a blocker?
He has to, though. If he wants to play this, he has to. And not only that, if you're not the number one or number two tight end, which conceivably he's not, you also need to stick your nose in hardcore on special teams.
Right. Or goal line situations,
Yeah.
special team situations. Is he willing to be a wedge blocker?
No shot.
Is he willing to?
Even if he's willing, it doesn't mean he's going to be able to do it.
When we come back here on the show, how iconic does Drew Holiday's steal and lob become if the Bucs clinch tomorrow night?
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This is disgusting.
CBS Sports Radio. Live Live from CBS Radio Studios in New York City, it's the DA Show with your host, Damon Amendolara, featuring producer Mraz and the musical sounds of the Zap Zap Orchestra. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's DA.
And we come to you live from the Rocket Mortgage Studios. Whether you want to buy a home or refinance your current home, Rocket can. Good morning and happy Monday. And thanks so much for joining us. Happy being alive day. As always, we are on the ever-expanding CBS Sports Radio Network on hundreds of affiliates nationwide and north of the border. Also on Sirius XM, channel 206. And you can also watch us this morning as we stream on YouTube. We've made a little transition with our recent technical difficulties in the simulcast. Want to make sure you guys still have an option to watch us live every single morning. And so at the moment, we are also on YouTube, which a lot of people are enjoying. So find us on the CBS Sports Radio channel there. Coming your way in 20 minutes, Stunned to a News. In 40 minutes, our question of the day. How much would you pay to be in the building to watch your team win a championship? Because there are prices that are pretty extraordinary going into tomorrow night's game number 6 in Milwaukee, including $1,000 standing room only seats that don't guarantee a view of the floor. Oh, my.
Oh, doctor.
Oh, doctor. But first, let's talk about how they got there, which is the Game 5 turning point play by Drew Holiday. I mistakenly said it was Chris Paul who he picked the pocket up. It was Devin Booker. And this was one of the most raucous, crazy, dramatic turns of events in an NBA Finals game and an NBA Finals series in recent memory. Think about everything you had at stake. Number one, it is a series where the home team had won every game. And the Suns had jumped out to the lead in this game. And then the Bucks had grabbed back the lead and built a 14-point advantage on the road. So as the lead gets chipped away by the Suns, little by little by little, it was potentially an enormous shift in the entire series. The Bucks had just won the previous 2 games and then had a 14-point advantage, and we're watching it drip away. Had the Suns completed the comeback, which it certainly felt like it was on the verge of happening in that possession, the Bucks would not only have gagged away an unbelievable chance at grabbing the series by the neck, but would then still have to win a road game at some point, this now being a game 7 eventually, if you even get there. So the emotional gut punch of losing a 14-point lead, of losing a road game you had won in a pivotal game of a series that historically says if you win it, you win the series. If you lose it, you lose the series. Again, the odds are dramatic. In a 2-2 series, if you win game 5, 72% of the time you win. So basically 3 out of 4 series, you win if you win game 5 at a 2-2. All of that is on the line on top of the previous 2 postseasons, where the Bucks were the 1 seed and obviously did not make it to an NBA Finals. So as I'm watching this lead shrink and shrink and shrink, and Bridges is hitting threes and Booker's hitting shots, and the Bucks are missing shots and turning the ball over, it just feels like, wow, this is the absolute most gut-wrenching way to lose this game and this series. Because to come back emotionally from that and win game 6 and game 7 was a pretty steep hill to climb. And all of the momentum at that moment in time with under a minute under a minute to play is all on the Suns. It's all on the Suns side. The crowd is going crazy. They smell blood in the water. The Suns' energy is way up. The Bucks can't seem to have responsible possessions. And when they do, the shots they're getting up are not good. It's all coming back the other way. It is all coming back. It is stacking up log by log by log. And here's Booker into the paint with what hypothetically could be a 12-foot jump shot, 13-foot jump shot, a little fadeaway jumper, which could be a kick out to one of the shooters again that's been knocked him down like Bridges, which could be some type of entry pass to Ayton, whatever that is. It feels like it's going to happen. It feels like the Suns are going to get that bucket and take the lead, and then it'll force the Bucks to have to answer. And if Holiday reaches in and commits the foul, the best free throw shooter in the game in this series is going to go to the free throw line to take the lead. If he gets called for a reach and foul, if he gets some hand, if he gets some arm, some wrist. And Holiday not only has the instincts of the cat burglar and the stones of a thief to stick his finger in there, pop it loose, pop it up in the air, and then grab it. He then drives down the floor across the midcourt stripe and has a very real decision and a very real opportunity to just wait to be fouled. Don't do anything, just be fouled, go to the free throw line, knock down the free throws. And can do that with about 20 seconds, 15 seconds a play or so. And it's the smart play. It's the savvy play. It stymies everything right there. And instead, freaking Drew Holiday, who has had at least 6 games of the postseason where you're like, where's Drew Holiday? He's had at least 6 of those. Sees Giannis streaking down the floor out of the right side of his vision and goes for it. Oh my God. Goes for it and throws the lob, which if the lob is 6 inches too high or 6 inches too low or 6 inches too wide is going off of Giannis's hands and out of bounds. And then you've just botched the turnover. And instead it's the perfect alley-oop, the perfect lob to Giannis, who flushes it and the foul. And everything changes. Everything changes on that play. Now, the Bucks have not won a championship yet. The Bucks obviously have to close tomorrow night or lose tomorrow night and close it a game 7 on the road, meaning 2 road wins, which feels like it's really, really death-defying. But if the Bucks close tomorrow, Drew Holiday's steal and lob goes down as number 1, the greatest play in Bucks franchise history. That's it right there. That's the play. Number 2, it's certainly one of the greatest 10 plays of the last 25 years of the NBA Finals. And I try not to be a prisoner of the moment, but it certainly feels like that's a top 5 moment of the last 10 years in the NBA. For the city of Milwaukee, who have never had the Brewers win a championship, a World Series, need to go back to the Milwaukee Braves, and have only had one NBA championship, being the Bucks in 71. And if you want to factor in the Packers are kind of their own entity, but not in the city of Milwaukee. For the city of Milwaukee, that play is arguably the most impactful play in the city's history. And also, if it sets up the Bucks to win this championship, it makes Giannis immortal, 2 MVPs and an NBA championship by the age of 26. That's the mark of the Magics of the world, the Kareems of the world,
the LeBrons of the world, winning multiple MVPs and a championship by your late 20s, the Jordans of the world by 26 is really early for anybody, but I'm just talking about kind of generally speaking. It's those iconic names. It puts him in that class. It also makes Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday the types of guys that now can be called the second and third best players in a championship team. And for Middleton and Holiday and Bobby Portis and the rest of those guys, they get to be immortal as well in the city of Milwaukee. You know what? They'll be on DA Show Class Reunion in 2031 and 2041. You get to be those guys. That play, that transaction of the steal and the lob and the finish, it changes everything. It changes lives. It changes the series. It changes lives. Now, again, they have to close, and there's still 48 minutes of basketball to be played. But that one transaction from one end of the court to the other end of the court goes from loss to win. It certainly felt like it was a loss before Booker had a shot. And today, the world is totally different. And Wednesday could be really, really different. Do we have that play guide that we can play just to once again kind of conjure up just the unbelievable nature of it from start to finish? And by the way, I bring up Bobby Portis a couple of times, and it's because when you win a championship, those types of guys play important roles. It's not ever just one guy or two guys. And Portis is playing a role right now. And Holiday, who is, again, the third most important piece of the puzzle, may have had the most important moment of the puzzle.
Booker driving, chicken wings again, in the lane. Holiday rips it away. 16 seconds to go to Giannis. Slam it! How about that? 122, 119. It's Drew Holiday with the steal, taking it away from Booker.
Ted Davis, Bucks Radio. Okay, so, whereas if you were a Bucks fan, I know that you're actively rooting against them, but if you were a Bucks fan, Game 5, Giannis's block of the lob to DeAndre Ayton.
Game 4.
Game 4. That moment is an iconic moment. Or Game 5, the Holiday steal. Which picture are you framing in your basement?
It's got to be the Holiday steal, although what part of it? Is it Giannis going up for the alley-oop to finish it, or is it actually the ball ripping out? I will go the Holiday steal over the Giannis block because, in a weird way, now that you have the choice, the Giannis block gets compared to the LeBron block. We had a recent block in NBA Finals history. We haven't had a legendary steal recently in NBA history. And also what that steal symbolized, you're in collapse mode. It's the, oh no, are we going to blow this panic? And that is the championship moment that stops the blown lead and stops the panic. It's got to be the Holiday steal for me.
Off the top of my head, I can think of 3 dramatic NBA playoff steals, and I welcome anybody to give me more of them. Of course, Havlicek stole the ball. Immortalized by Johnny Most, the legendary broadcaster of the Celtics. I don't know what NBA Finals that is, 61, 62 maybe. You have Bird stealing the inbounds ball from Isaiah.
Right.
Bird stole the ball underneath the DJ. DJ lays it up and in. Again, Johnny Most.
65 was Havlicek.
65, Havlicek stole the ball. I think it's 87, if I'm not mistaken, when Bird steals it from Isaiah on the inbounds pass at Boston Garden. And then Jordan stripping Karl Malone on the final sequence in 98, where he ends up then coming down the floor and dropping the hammer on Brian Russell. Off the top of my head, those are the 3 legendary NBA steals I can think of. If you have another one, let me know. Tweet at me, DA on CBS. Again, DA on CBS or on the phones. I welcome the calls, 855-212-4CBS. But Bird and Isaiah, Havlicek stole the ball, and then Jordan stripping Karl Malone. Drew Holiday is a top 4 steal of all time in NBA history.
And Havlicek and Bird happened in the Eastern Finals, not the NBA Finals.
Oh, the Havlicek steal is not even the NBA Finals.
The 1965 NBA Eastern Division Championship Game 7 versus the 76ers.
Wow.
So Holiday on that stage, again, your team collapsing, pivotal Game 5, that steal on a star player of the other team in that spot.
I mean, imagine he's called for a reach-in foul there.
Thank goodness, too. With the Bucks hate aside, let them play. Thank goodness that was called clean. Because that, honestly, in February, that probably is called a foul.
Well, and there's been a couple of plays in this series where there are obvious fouls and they're letting them play.
That's the way it should be, though.
They're really letting everything go.
A lot of banging and booming and binging and a dung, did you?
A lot of Marco Belletti. Bing da bang da boom.
Bing da bang da boom dang dung ding jung.
Dang dung ding jung. Bing da bang da boom.
Bang da boom dang dung ding jung. Ding jung.
What a game. What a finish. What a moment. If you have another iconic steal NBA history, let me know. DA on CBS on Twitter or on the phones 855-212-4227.
Oh, valid point.
When we come back, we have stunned to a news, and Mraz finds himself in hot water this morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Not so well. DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
A no sweatpants at work zone.
Wow, I figured something out when I probably shouldn't have. And that bothers me, where I would look at that if I saw somebody else, I go, you know what, good for them. And nobody could just give me a good for me.
It's DA on CBS Sports Radio.
22 minutes past the hour. Thanks for being with us. Remember to tell your smart speaker to play CBS Sports Radio. Have us on around the house. Tell Alexa, the Echo, whatever it is that you have to play CBS Sports Radio. Perhaps you want to add presented by Odyssey so that she can find it. And if that doesn't work, lean on one of our very popular affiliates because they carry our show like KTIK in Boise. Just say play KTIK in Boise. You can listen to the DA show. Tweets coming in about Tim Tebow. Man, we got some Tebow defenders. Ed tweets, Pete, make sure you clip that segment of DA so you can go back and play when Tim Tebow makes the roster and catches a touchdown pass. If Tebow makes this roster, then that Jaguars tight end core is really in bad shape. If Tim Tebow is on your active roster, then the Jaguars are way worse than we thought. And number two, if he catches a touchdown pass, that means it's a 31-3 blowout against the Colts, and they put him in garbage time and purposefully threw him a ball because Urban Meyer has to do a favor for Tim Tebow.
And if your bar is when he catches a touchdown pass, it just shows that you don't understand what a third and fourth tight end is supposed to contribute to a football team.
Or a sixth tight end.
Right. But the point being, like, the little things are what's going to matter, not scoring touchdowns.
Even Dixieland Dan is all over Tim Tebow's jock. Tim is 6'3". George Kittle's 6'4". Kittle is an inch shorter and 5 pounds lighter than Travis Kelce, who's 6'5". Both those guys are considered an easy top 5 tight end in the league. Well, those are the top 2 tight ends in the league. You can say Tim has no skill, but he ain't undersized. All right, Dan, go down with that shit, man. All you guys, all you Tebow fanatics, go down with the Tebow shit. I'm going to enjoy watching it. You guys get on SS Tebow and then watch him in training camp. And I want you to be really locked in. I want you to be watching all of Jaguars training camp. I want you to read the Jacksonville Times-Union every single day. Okay. I want you to make sure that you're locked into Jaguars.com. Make sure you're watching. Make sure you're looking, because I don't want to hear all this defense of Tim Tebow. Then you guys just check out until he gets cut. I want you guys, if you guys this defiant in the face of logic, I want you guys to be in there. Okay. This is not scripture. It's not Bible study. It's actual football. You got to actually get on the field. It's not just about giving a rah-rah speech. You actually got to get on the field and beat your man off the line of scrimmage. Okay? It's not about being a good guy. It's not about being handsome. It's about you actually have to do it. So I want you guys locked in a Jaguars camp. And then I want you guys to be studying the film there, whatever you can get from Jaguars.com. Watch the all 22s or whatever. Okay? You tell me how Tebow looks against other competition. Then watch the preseason games. All preseason games are televised. Okay? Even Jaguars preseason games. If you're not in Jacksonville, that's okay. You can watch them on NFL Network. NFL Network replays every preseason game throughout the week. So make sure you DVR. You're in front of the TV for the Jaguars preseason games. And I want to make sure that you guys are studying and watching. And then you come back and you report to me how you think Tebow looks. Okay? After 7 years away from football, 34 years old, and having never played the position, unwilling, by the way, to play the position, unwilling to play the position for many, many years, I want you guys to come back and report if you think that Tebow looks like an NFL tight end, that he's the proper size, the proper shape, he's got the proper technique. I want to see how you guys think about his blocking skills and what you think about his pass catching skills and how he runs his routes. I want to see what you think about all of his responsibilities that come with tight end. Because it's not like Madden where you just line up on the split and then you just like go out, turn around and you catch a pass and then rumble down the field for 60-yard touchdowns. There's a lot more that goes into it. So if I'm wrong and Tim Tebow ends up being a standout tight end for the Jaguars, I'll sit here, I'll eat my words. You know that. You know where to find me. But I don't want to hear all of this Tebow defense without any actual facts that would suggest that suddenly you can become a tight end at 34 having never played the position before. I don't want to sit here and hear all this about Tebow's spirit and Tebow's work ethic and Tebow's muscles and Tebow's this and that, and then have him cut and I don't hear from anybody again. I don't want that to happen either. Come see me when Tebow gets cut and do the same thing I would have to do if Tebow catches 10 touchdown passes. Eat the words. I was wrong, DA. Tebow stinks. He's undersized. He's this, he's that. He doesn't know how to block. He can't run a proper route tree. I don't know why I thought, DA, that a guy that had never played a position could suddenly do that in the NFL. I don't know, DA. I guess I was just looking into his beautiful eyes. I guess I was just wowed by his handsome features, his chiseled features. I guess I was ignoring the actual facts, CA. I don't know. Here it was that I was a smart football fan, and I knew that you don't just start playing football at the age of 34 in a new position and make the NFL. But I didn't think about that at that time because he's just so dreamy, DA. He's so dreamy. So I want to make sure we're all on the same page, that these are the same rules of engagement for everybody here.
Eat you up with their eyes.
Hawaiian Tony Danza brings up one of the famous steals of NBA history, Gerald Henderson. A steal of James Worthy's pass to score a game-tying layup in Game 2 of the 84 NBA Finals between the Celtics and the Lakers, a game the Celtics would eventually prevail in overtime. And Cigar City Capo brings up Reggie Miller's steal against the Knicks with the double three-pointers. That's a good one as well. Very good one. Also, this has been a tough morning for Mraz, because it's a Monday, naturally harder for Mraz to get up after the weekend. Had a big weekend with Bayou Bear. Many, many adult beverages consumed on Friday and at the game. He's still dealing with the car fallout. So are you still driving?
Oh, I got to rent a car. California plates, too. We're in good shape here.
Rent a car? What kind of car?
A Nissan Altima.
Okay. And you come into work today, so it's a little bit tougher. You also have to, unfortunately, let me gloat about the Bucks winning game number 5, knowing that I was going to use that as fuel today, since you've been rooting against the Bucks the entire way. You didn't want me to be right. So this has not been an easy day, knowing that we're going to have Deer District Diaries for game 6, which can only make Aiden look even better. So this is a tough Monday for you.
Bringing Aiden into this, too.
And
this is facts.
Well, we love Justin Termini coming up on the show later on in the day. My guess is you had reached out to probably like 20 other people, and they fell through today.
You got that right.
So
Oink, oink.
I know that today is not an easy day, but you're at work. Oh, also, there was a COVID scare in the building last week. So everybody's on high alert about that. So today is not the easiest morning. And then you learn a devastating turn of events has turned against you.
Yeah, I looked at my phone. I had 6 missed calls from my wife. 6. And she knows
That sounds like an emergency.
Yeah, she knows I'm on the air. So of course I'm thinking, oh no, something's up. My daughter, she's pregnant. Anything could be going on. So I call, and before she gets to the point, I got 3 F-bombs uttered at me. And it's a simple, you have my bleeping keys and wallet, you bleepity bleep. And I said, what? I look, and of course, here, as I will show on the YouTube, I have Danielle's keys, her only set, because we had lost the spare keys a while ago, her wallet, and she cannot get to work this morning. And her only 2 other close employees are both on vacation, and she is in charge for payroll for her entire company that needs to be done today. And to make matters worse, if this was an emergency and she could stay home, it would be one thing. However, because of our camera situation, I have taken her laptop in as well to make sure that we are fine on our video stream today, because I didn't have a camera the last couple of days last week. So I have her computer that she needs to work from, her wallet, her keys, and she's not even home. She's at my sister's. She is stranded, hopeless, and it is all my fault.
Didn't you guys have a key situation before which you trashed her for?
Yes, she lost her keys, called me very early in the pregnancy. I can't find my keys, and they ended up being right there on the key rack, and she had spaced out. These are the same keys. As it turns out, yesterday we were going down to Bob's Bar, and I grabbed a portable high chair out of her trunk, and just because I didn't want to go back into my sister's house, I threw them in my backpack, and I walked in my backpack in my bathing suit or whatnot. I never took them out of the backpack, so they are just sitting here. And to say she's steaming is an understatement.
So you took her keys and her laptop. Did she know you were taking her laptop?
No, she didn't. But I didn't think anything of it because I knew she'd be at work today and she would need the laptop. Cap prefers when I use this laptop because he likes the camera better. So I was doing everything I could for the show today.
Thanks, Cap.
And she is totally hamstrung, cannot get into her car. That's her only access to a car seat. She has no wallet, no phone, no.
Why do you have her wallet?
Because she, I'm not going to call her a bad word. She, like the human she is, needs to attach her keys to her wallet because I guess she doesn't want to lose both at the same time. But here we are, and I have both. So I have everything she needs to succeed in life today. And I was told, I don't give a bleep what DA or your boss, you're leaving at 10 o'clock because I need to get to work by 11:30.
Well, she'll never be at work by 11:30.
Well, I think the hope is she doesn't realize there's New York City traffic out there, and I'm just yesing her right now. I'm hoping she's not listening, and I basically have to floor it on the BQE on the way home.
What's best case scenario for your time home?
Well, honestly, 11:30 is doable because I left here at 11 twice last week and got home at noon.
Okay.
So it is doable, but you hit a little roving road work and I'm toast. I am toast. I hit that one day last week and it was 2 hours home. Like, it can make all the difference in the world. So we're really just spinning the roulette wheel here. And you got to realize she now is miserable hot. I mean, the baby, we're ticking here. This is not a good mind frame. Not that she's had a great mind frame to begin with, but it's ugly. It is ugly on the streets.
Are you guys into your own home yet?
No, it appears as if August 2nd is our tentative date. And I can tell you this, it appeared as if last week the contractors did absolutely nothing. They must have took a side job for a week or something. Basically they swept a couple of dust particles into 2 piles and there was nothing there. So that's got her hot. I mean, it's a lot.
So this is week 10 at your sister's house.
We're going to go through basically a whole NFL schedule before we get back. We're
week,
almost at Thanksgiving from opening day of the NFL, if you want to put it in that way.
Week 10 staying at your sister's.
And I even got scrubbing bubbles thrown at me each time I cleaned the bathroom. Things are just getting tense.
So week 10. Danielle is pregnant with a second child on the way.
Yeah, and we're talking end of September for that second child. So now we're hitting August. So it's, there's no hiding it.
And now you have stolen her keys and her wallet and her phone.
No, not her phone, her laptop.
Her laptop, rather.
She's only got her phone. And her entire company of 34 people are waiting on her to cut some checks today.
I remember she used that phone to call and curse him out.
If it's
You're right.
if it's not in by a certain time, their department will not get paid on Wednesday. So then she'll have the entire company, people expecting paychecks for bills on Wednesday. This is all a ripple effect of me having her keys wallet and having, more importantly, having the laptop for Kaplan today on the stream because our cameras aren't working here.
Time for you to start shopping for a Jelly of the Month club for all of your fellow employees. Karen, it's the gift that keeps on giving.
It's ugly here for me right now.
And it is, Edward.
Where is
So think about
where's
this.
Lolly?
Lolly's
Can't Lolly
lost
watch the
cause
baby?
too. No, Lolly's done.
Yeah, Lolly's done.
She needs a break. This week it was hot on Lolly. My parents still don't have air conditioning, so it's 97 degrees in that house. They're all losing their mind. It is ugly, ugly, ugly. And our camera's not working. Somehow a trickle-down effect is 34 people may not get paid their salaries on Wednesday. For an entirely different company.
Well, how about she uses your laptop?
Okay, so the reason I have her laptop, Taylor dumped bubbles all over mine. And my B and my A buttons, for whatever reason, aren't working. And happen to be my password to get in features both a B and an A. I cannot get into my laptop right now.
Wade Boggs 96.
Something like that.
No, Tiki Barber 2121.
Something like that.
Tiki Barber knows my name.
So that's my life today.
So the B and the A not working, huh?
Not working. Just whoosh, bubbles all over it as I was doing a topic list last week.
Taylor still eating out of the dog bowl?
She's not eating out of the dog bowl anymore, but we can put a pause on Harvard for a little bit.
That's
How's her jump shot?
That we're working on.
Why a pause on Harvard?
I mean, the eating the bubbles, the dumping of the bubbles. Now, by the way, we taught her she took swimming lessons, so she jumps like into the pool. Yesterday, she tried jumping from the top of Sam's stairs and went 8 stairs down. So things have just turned ugly. It's just
Taylor, pull my tail.
It's an ugly life.
Tail.
I mean, it really is like you have writers.
Yeah.
It is remarkable. Like this is a sitcom bit. Like Sean accidentally took the keys to work and now 35 people can't get paid.
The one where Mraz steals the keys.
Episode 1.
Pull it. Pull my tail, sweetheart. Taylor, pull my tail.
I was just watching the CNN documentary series, History of the Sitcom. They just debuted that. Pretty good stuff.
At least you're watching new TV. That's good.
Yeah, about old TV. And they had Ray Romano featured in Everybody Loves Raymond, and they showed that opening. And I just said, wow, this inspired Mraz's entire career right here. Ray Romano standing there with a rake.
I want to be that.
That's my dream. AB has our headlines. What do we got?
Guys, some confusion, some relative exhales this morning for U.S. women's gymnastics in Tokyo. First, Japanese officials said an unnamed team member had tested positive for COVID. The only detail given was she was a teenager, so that eliminated Simone Biles. Now we know she's an alternate. She and another alternate are now in isolation, while the main team has moved to new housing and a new training facility. The U.S. basketball teams leave for Tokyo today. Both got wins yesterday in Vegas. The men rallying past Spain 83-76. Greg Popovich philosophical after a tough stretch on the Strip.
They've kept their heads up. There might be a disappointment here or there or an event that takes place, but they move on. And that's what, in a sense, that's what life's all about. So this is no different.
The women salvaged their third and final tune-up, 93-62 over Nigeria. Asia Wilson, 16 points and 10 boards. U.S. men's soccer scored 20 seconds in, then hung on to beat Canada 1-0 in KC. That clinches Group B at the Gold Cup. The Americans now wait on Jamaica and Costa Rica to decide their quarterfinal opponent. Last night at Yankee Stadium, a 9-1 Red Sox loss. They've now dropped 2 of 3 in the Bronx, 6 of 8 overall. Their lead on the Rays is just a half game atop the AL East. And by the way, the dude that hit Alex Verdugo with that ball Saturday night has been banned for life from all big league stadiums, but no criminal charges at this point. Yesterday afternoon, we already played the Mets' embarrassing start in Pittsburgh. Now the better ending.
1 ball, 1 strike pitch. Conforto, it's a high fly ball, deep center field. Reynolds is back at the wall, and it's gone! A home run! Michael Conforto gives the Mets the lead. A two-run homer to straightaway center field off of Richard Rodriguez.
Wayne Randazzo on Mets Radio. The Mets were down 6-0 after one yesterday. They won 7-6. They are the third team in the modern era to blow a 6-run lead on one day, which they did Saturday, and then come back and erase one the next day. The Steelers expected to host former Chargers pass rusher Melvin Ingram this week as they try to replace Bud Dupree, who left in free agency. And Eric Almirola won the NASCAR race at New Hampshire Motor Speedway yesterday. That ends his 98 race drought. And now a new week of Stunned begins.
It doesn't take much to surprise this bouncing baby boy.
This is honestly the most stunned I have ever been on the show to a news.
The DA show is stunned to a news.
Hat tip to Steve Moskowitz for sending this one in on Twitter. Not just a woman, but a woman without clothes got stuck between concrete walls in Santa Ana, California recently. There were just 8 inches between these two outer walls, and yet somehow she slid down between them and got stuck.
God.
Investigators do not know how she got there, but I feel like the lack of clothing is somewhat of a clue that there was some craziness going on before she found her way in between the walls. Now, workers at a nearby business heard the woman calling for help, called 911. Rescuers had to cut a chunk of one of these concrete walls away to free her. She was alert and responsive the entire time, and it did not appear that she was injured in any significant way once they got her out. But again, 8 inches between two outer walls, between two buildings, and this naked lady got stuck between them.
She's a bad girl, David.
That sounds like a nightmare. Think about how claustrophobic that is. That, first of all, you're trapped between two huge concrete slabs that have 8 inches apart. So I don't even know how you would fit in there. She must have been a really slender lady. That's not your normal American getting stuffed in there. But number two, imagine having that happen and you're naked. How uncomfortable and rashy and scratchy the whole thing is. And then feeling vulnerable and exposed because you have no clothes on, but then also being trapped with two huge walls and needing to scream for somebody to help you. And it takes 2.5 hours to extract you. I mean, that sounds like an absolute nightmare. And also, I have nothing but respect for these first responders and emergency crews. And because I always see somebody drove the wrong way on an off ramp or slid into this ditch or did this or got trapped between these two walls. You're like, man, these people deal with this type of stuff all of the time. It's like, oh yeah, there's a naked woman. Oh, by the way, there's a woman trapped in 8 inches between two huge walls. Oh boy. Oh, and by the way, she's also naked. So go try to figure that one out. Oh, okay. They do this every single day.
Yeah, and also this was at an auto body shop where they had to cut the hole out to take her out. I'm just going to say, I get the idea, guys, at an auto body shop, there weren't a lot of mufflers being fixed or whatever in that situation when that hole gets cut and she gets dragged out butt naked through the brick wall. That's going to be a very embarrassing moment for her in that spot, not just getting stuck, but the area in which you're getting cut out. You know what I mean?
Full on nude. Where do you think she got the idea to just be nude and then wiggle herself into that crevice?
My first reaction was she lost a DA show bet, but that my next guess would be something drug related.
My guess is Super Dave beat her in picks.
Or maybe recently she began swim lessons and now she just jumps into everything.
Thank you, Bogues. When we come back, how much would you pay to be in the building to watch your favorite team win a championship? DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Little wet, little drippy, 24/7.
It's hard to be nice every day. It is.
Happy Mother's Day, moms out there. You've done so much for us.
It's DA on CBS Sports Radio.
Saturday on CBS, an afternoon of sports starts on the court at 1 Eastern, 10 Pacific, with two more intense battles in the Big Three. Then at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific, it's off to the golf course for live PGA Tour action at the 3M Open. That's all coming up Saturday, only on CBS. Tomorrow night, Game 6 of the NBA Finals, a chance for the Bucks to clinch. And the Deer District is going to have tens of thousands of people there, but Milwaukee police will have to turn some people away due to capacity limits. If you want to be inside the building, tickets are running as high as $14,000 to be inside the building if you want to be down low, courtside, etc. But if you just want to be in the upper tank, the cheapest option as of yesterday was $1,600 if you want to be in the upper deck. Now that's a seat. You can get in the building for $1,000, one GER. For $1,050, you could be part of the standing room only area. Okay, so for $1,000, you get in the building. And you might be like, well, all right. I'm not going to want to sit down anyway if the Bucks are going to win a championship. So I want in. But for $1,000, that standing room only ticket does not guarantee a view of the court. Now look, if I'm paying $1,000 to be in the building, I got to at least be able to see the floor. I don't know if that means you can't see anything because there's people in front of you, or if that means there's only one row that can see the floor and then everybody else looks at TVs. But that to me is always hysterical at Cowboys games where people pay to be in the building and they just watch the Jumbotron from like multiple rows back out in the concourse. It's like, you're just watching TV then. I'd love to be in the building, Mraz, to see a championship, but I think I need a view of the court. I don't think I can, in good conscience, pay $1,000 and not have some view of the action and be watching on some type of TV or on my phone.
Right, because the whole night's an event, right? You want to maybe go to a bar outside the arena, have a beer. Now you're in panic mode. You've spent that money and you need to try to bum rush people to be the first ones when the gates open in to mark your territory. And then you got to hope the moment you need to use the bathroom that nobody's a jerk and you let back to your spot. That is totally not worth it. You want to tell me for $100 you're going to take that chance? For $1,000? No way. I go home.
That's why I think if the deal is $1,000 for standing room only or $1,600 for the upper tank, you spend the extra $600.
Absolutely. You guarantee yourself a seat, and that's peace of mind. $600 for peace of mind to watch your team win a championship, that is worth it to me. If you're already committing to the grand, just throw the MasterCard down at that point.
What's the event you would spend the most money on to see your team clinch? A Yankees World Series championship? A Giants Super Bowl?
Actually would not be the Super Bowl because I feel like that has less fun to it because you're not in your home building. Yankees have won so much. I bet you I'd probably spend the most money to see the Rangers hoist the Stanley Cup.
Okay.
I really would. Something about that magical. They got so close for so many years. I would love to be in the building for that.
1,500 bones. You get to go to the Garden.
I have a seat.
It's the last row in the last seat of the last row upper deck.
Am I behind on mortgage payments?
Nope. You're all caught up.
Yeah, I buy it. Don't tell my wife I'm buying it. And then, wait for them to win the cup and deal with the ramifications later.
Would you go solo for $1,500? Nobody else around you wants to buy the $1,500 seat.
That's a good question. Actually, no. No, I want to share that moment with somebody I know and love who loves the team. I don't think I'd do it solo.
Yeah, if you have somebody to go with, you do it.
If we both agree $1,500, I share that moment. Yeah, solo's rough because then I feel like I'm not enjoying it too much.
And you feel like you're missing out of the celebration of your friends and your family.
Everybody else has those videos, and I'm here out $1,500 hugging a guy with no armpit deodorant.
Okay, that's our poll question today. How much would you spend to be in the building to watch your team win a championship? Vote at CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Good morning.
Morning.
It's a beautiful morning. Good morning. Good morning. Wake up, mister.
It's such a good vibration. Temptation. It's such a
CBS Sports Radio.
what's up, DA? Permission to enter the mothership, brother.
Ever heard a sports talk show like this before? Didn't think so.
What's going on, Dirty?
It's DA on CBS Sports Radio.
DA, how you feeling, brother?
Man, I'm feeling great.
I'm doing great.
Happy Monday to you, boys and girls. One question only. How do you feel?
Well, I feel good and I'm doing well.
Well, that's all that really matters. So we come to you live from the Rocket Mortgage Studios. Need to know what it takes for a home to fit your budget and your family? Rocket can. Happy Monday, everybody. We appreciate you being with us. We appreciate your patronage and your loyalty. And to all the aliens out there, we love being back here in the studio. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the fresh sound of the DA show being back and together again. It feels so good.
Now, wait a minute.
That's right. And we're going to talk to Justin Termini from NBA Sirius XM Radio coming up here in about 20 minutes. He is always highly energetic, always highly opinionated. Obviously, a lot to delve into and dig into from Game 5 of the NBA Finals and where we go from here with the Game 6 tomorrow night. A lot is on the line. Obviously, you have Giannis would hypothetically on Wednesday morning be put on a type of pedestal, platform, elevation that is reserved for very few in NBA history as an MVP twice and then an NBA Finals champion and probably the NBA Finals MVP. You would also have Chris Paul coming up short yet again. You'd have Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday proving that they can be the second and third best players on a championship team. Mike Budenholzer would be a championship head coach. Questions would obviously come surrounding what happened to the Suns in the final 4 games of the series. So much is pressing about this game tomorrow night. And should the Bucks lose and the Phoenix Suns can bring this back to a game number 7, would the Bucks have the ability to win 2 road games in this series, including a clinching game number 7? So we'll talk about all of it with Justin Termini, Sirius XM's NBA Radio, coming up here on the show in about 20 minutes. And I heard a story about him at a dinner party that I was at about a week ago. And I said, if we have him on the show here, I got to ask him about this. If this really took place, if this was really one of the lowest moments of his life, because the guy that I talked to said it would have to have been. But let's talk some football before we do that. Matthew Stafford obviously is in Los Angeles with the Rams. They'll be opening up training camp here shortly. Jimmy Ward is a safety for the San Francisco 49ers. He's been with the 49ers for 8 years now, coming out as a first-round draft pick from Northern Illinois in 2014. Jimmy Ward doesn't have a lot of respect, apparently, for Matthew Stafford, considering Stafford's past in Detroit. These are some trash-talking words, fighting words in the NFC West.
But he's the same quarterback that's been in the system in Detroit Lions, and they still didn't go to the playoffs. And you had Megatron. So it's like, what was the problem over there with Detroit? You gonna blame the city? Like, what was the problem?
Yeah, he had a lot of time over there to win.
Is it the money? City don't have the money. If the city doesn't have enough money to bring players over there, why do they even have an NFL team?
That's a good point.
So that's a big question mark. And so you went and traded Goff, who went to playoffs of several times and went to the Super Bowl. Yeah, he lost. Went to the Super Bowl though. I'm yet to see that with Matt Stafford. And you want to just, and I'm saying he's still great staff. I believe he's a top 10 quarterback. I'm not gonna lie, maybe top 5. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm just saying, I'm just going off of what I see.
So that's Jimmy Ward, safety of the 49ers on YouTube. Number one, I'm not sure if Jimmy Ward is taking a shot at Stafford or not, because on the one hand, he says he's the same guy that was the quarterback of the Lions and they never made the playoffs. But then by the end of it says he could be a top 10, top 5 quarterback. Well, if he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, top five. So it's like Mahomes, Rodgers, Brady, Lamar Jackson, Matthew Stafford, or Josh Allen, Matthew Stafford, or something like that. if you're putting him in that category, I don't see how you can be dismissive that he had missed the playoffs all of those years. If you were admitting that he is a top 5 QB in the league, he's a top 5 talent, then you can't pin him missing the playoffs on him in Detroit. So I'm not really sure what Jimmy Ward is talking about there. The second part, though, is, quote, he's the same QB that was on the Lions that didn't go to the playoffs, and they had Calvin Johnson. What was the problem there in Detroit? Let me just give you Matthew Stafford's career accolades. First player in NFL history to complete 60% or more of all passes. Most fourth quarter comebacks in a single season in 2016, 8. Fastest player to 20,000 yards career passing. Fastest player to 30,000 career yards passing. Fastest player to 40,000 career yards passing. Fastest player to 45,000 career passing yards. NFL Comeback Player of the Year. NFL Pro Bowler. Matthew Stafford being called out by Jimmy Ward, who was a first-round pick and never even made a Pro Bowl, is rich. It's rich that Jimmy Ward, of all people, who are you calling out Matthew Stafford for not accomplishing more? If you have any sense of the dysfunction, of the cheapskatedness, of the disastrous coaches and front office decisions and hires and fires, any grasp on what has ailed the Lions since the 1950s, you would know this ain't a Matthew Stafford problem. Can Stafford get himself into some issues by trying to do too much at times? Did Stafford perhaps lock onto Calvin Johnson perhaps too much at the risk of being too predictable with his passes? Did he feel like perhaps Megatron was the only option because he didn't have enough other options? Has he thrown into triple coverage in the fourth quarter and they've been a bad decision? All of those things could be yes. But if you think the Lions didn't make the playoffs for the years they didn't, and by the way, they made them twice with Matthew Stafford. If you think all of the times he missed the playoffs was because it was Matthew Stafford's fault, you don't know football. And frankly, Jimmy Ward, you should shut your mouth. Because it's not like the Niners went to the Super Bowl because of Jimmy Ward. They've had Pro Bowlers all over the place, drafted and developed really well, signed important free agents, had a really good coach, had a quarterback that at his best has been good enough, and really smart roster building, and also a culture of winning over the last decade since Harbaugh got there. The Lions have had none of that. So for Jimmy Ward to take a shot at Matthew Stafford is just ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. I'll tell you this. If Jimmy Ward was drafted by the Lions and played there for the last 8 years, there's no way he would say, well, why couldn't Matthew Stafford get us to the playoffs? He'd know that Stafford did plenty to get to the playoffs, that it was everything else. I'm not saying Matthew Stafford is the best quarterback in the NFL. I'm not saying he's a perfect quarterback. I'm not saying he doesn't have his own flaws. But I'm going to tell you this. He's going to be lightning this year. Lightning. You will see a guy who is still near the top of his game, and I hope he doesn't get injured. But you will see a guy who is a gamer, who will play through pain, who is great in the fourth quarters, rallying the guys, who has an incredible arm, a tremendous feel for everything that a defense can throw at him. And now that he has a real quarterback, a real head coach, and real wide receivers, and real offensive balance, and a real defense, there's Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey on the other side of the football. You are going to see lightning from Matthew Stafford. This guy's going to throw for 5,000 yards, 40 touchdowns. He's going to have 8 interceptions. He's going to be a top 5 guy in the MVP race. And the Rams are going to win 11 games. Maybe more. You are going to see what Stafford can be when Matthew Stafford's surrounded by a winning franchise. Goes back to the Damian Lillard conversation we had earlier in the morning. Lillard is fine as a guy that is going to be there, be loyal, work through hard times, work through losses, understand that there's going to be losses, as long as he understands and feels as though the support system around him also desires to win as much as he does. And so he's saying, I don't want to leave. There's a lot of good things here. The fans are great. The city is great. I've got great teammates, but are we really committed to winning an NBA championship? Because if not, then I got to go. But if we are, I want to stay. It's the same thing with Stafford. There has not been a point in time in the Lions' last half a century that they were completely committed to winning a championship. Stafford finally has that, and the Rams don't have a draft pick for the next 5 years to prove it. They are completely committed to winning a championship, and he's going to thrive because of that. Whereas I saw this and I said, Jimmy Ward is going to call out Matthew Stafford of all people?
Yeah, and I think what's more puzzling is that you said it right at the top. He's still calling Stafford a top 10. Who knows? Maybe he could be a top 5 quarterback. I think if you really read between the lines, I think Jimmy Ward is almost a Jared Goff defender there, because I guess his point is Stafford could be that great, but he didn't have the success with the franchise like Goff had, I guess. It just seems like a weird Goff assessment, but I guess that ties into Matt Stafford, because Goff has made a Super Bowl, granted on the heels of Todd Gurley and the defense, has gotten the Rams to a second round. So for Stafford, now he is stepping into a situation where for a franchise, it really is win a Super Bowl or bust for this move, because they can make Super Bowls with Jared Goff as they did.
Stafford has pressure on him. That's a tough division. Seahawks are good. Niners are really good. It's a really tough division. In fact, all 4 of those teams are really good. But at the end of the day, if Matthew Stafford is on the 2018 or 2019 Rams, whatever year that was, 2018, they're going to the Super Bowl. It wasn't like Stafford couldn't have done with Goff what Goff did.
And I don't think they score. What did they end up scoring? 7 points or 10 points in that game?
13-7,
13-6, I think it was.
Well, they scored a touchdown.
13-7?
Yeah, it's either 13-7 or 13-10. Might have been 13-7. But regardless, the Rams aren't scoring 7 points in a Super Bowl if Matt Stafford's their quarterback. I don't care how great a game plan Bill Belichick had. There's no way.
I mean, unless one of these teams has tons of injuries like the Niners did last year, or Kingsbury proves to be a total fraud, where's the easy wins come from in that division?
They don't. But that being said, you know how football is. One of those teams is not going to be as good as we think they are. That's just the fact. And whether that's the Cardinals because there's just not enough room in the party, maybe it's the Niners because their quarterback situation this year. One of those teams is not going to be as good as they are, but that doesn't change the fact that there are no easy 2 games in that division at all to play out of.
Probably the best division in football.
Yeah, I would think so. I don't think there's an AFC division that matches, and it's certainly the best division in the NFC.
Because there's no easy game there. There's no easy game. I mean, the AFC North is probably in the conversation because I don't think there's an easy game there. I think even the Bengals aren't an easy game, assuming that Joe Burrow stays healthy, but the Browns are really good. The Ravens are really good. The Steelers we'll see, but again, they're not an easy game.
The Steelers are never going to roll over and die, even if they're not a good team. Yeah, those aren't easy outs, but they're like, I could look at the Bengals and think they're not going to make the playoffs. There's no way you could be laughed at for picking any of the 4 NFC West teams to make the playoffs. And I think that's what makes it the most difficult division.
No doubt. When we come back, we'll talk NBA Finals. Justin Termini, Sirius XM NBA Radio is next. DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
We are the glitch in the simulation.
Pull up your pants, take off the bra, and be a man.
It's DA on CBS Sports Radio.
DIY means sawdust, work gloves, and the right tools like the Home Depot mobile app with built-in image search and ability to access an entire rental department with a swipe. Download the app to get started. The Home Depot how-doers get more done. 21 minutes past the hour. Thanks for being with us. You can watch us these days on YouTube. The live simulcast is going on there. Instead of watchda.com or on Twitch these days. We get it on YouTube as we make our way through some technical hurdles, but we're jumping over them like Flojo. So check us out there on the simulcast on YouTube. Check out the CBS Sports Radio channel there. Joining us here on the show this morning is a host, one of our favorites when we talk NBA from SiriusXM's NBA Radio, our friend Justin Termini. Justin, good morning.
Morning. How we doing?
Doing great. How you doing?
I'm getting by.
Yeah. Is that it? Just getting by on a Monday?
No, I mean, I think this finals has been the best we've had since 2016, so a little bit better than that. It's nice to see where we don't have these super teams, and I think that was like the thought heading in. Oh, you don't have the Lakers, you don't have the Celtics, you don't have the Warriors, you don't have Durant, you don't have LeBron, and I think this has played out better than any finals I can remember in the last 4 or 5 years.
So this would be the best since the LeBron comeback over the Warriors in 2016.
Yeah, LeBron Golden State, absolutely. You agree or you disagree?
I'm thinking back to the last couple of years, better than last year's Lakers win, better than the Kawhi championship, better than the other Warriors over the Cavs. So yeah, since then. And then before that, what was the best one before that?
Well, I mean, 2000, you had a stretch where they were pretty good, right? Because 2010 was good. That was 7 games between the Lakers and Celtics with Kobe and the Celtics. 2011 was great because that was Dirk against the super team Miami Heat. 2013 was great. That was the Ray Allen shot, 7 games, Miami and San Antonio. So you had a flurry of good ones prior to that.
That's a good point. In terms of historically speaking, Drew Holiday's steal. We brought up Havlicek stole the ball, Bird stealing Isaiah's inbounds pass, Jordan stripping Karl Malone. Is Drew Holiday's steal of Devin Booker one of those iconic all-time NBA steals?
Yeah, I think so. And if it leads to a championship, it heightens it, right? Because, I think the greatest of all the postseason steals is probably Bird's against Isaiah in '87, just because of the predicament. But it doesn't get thrown into the mix because the Celtics lost the championship the next round to the Lakers. Like, if it led to a championship, it's the same thing as like the Brocious Tino home runs for the Yankees against the Diamondbacks, right? They jump up another level if they finish off the deal. Celtics in '87 couldn't finish off the deal. '65 when Havlicek made the steal. '98 when Jordan made the steal. They both finished it off. So that meant a little bit more. Even Havlicek's wasn't in the NBA Finals. And then with this one, this potentially could lead to an NBA championship. So I think so. Yes, if it leads to a title, then certainly it goes down as one of the iconic steals in history.
What's the biggest thing in your mind that turned after the first 2 games of the Bucks fashion?
I think it's just been the defense on Chris Paul, and I really think that changed after the first game, where they changed the philosophy and how they guarded him and didn't allow him to get that little mid-range jump shot. The difference was in game 2, they didn't benefit off it because Phoenix went 20 of 40 from 3, which is almost unheard of. It's impossible to shoot that way, even though they shot very well last game as well from 3. But I thought that was a turning point where the Bucks even found something in game 2. It's just that Phoenix hit all those open threes. Once they stopped hitting the open threes and still continued to defend Chris Paul the same way, I think that's where things turned a little.
Justin Termini joins us, host of NBA Today on SiriusXM's Channel 207 NBA Radio and XM 86. So in terms of that defense, has it been one guy that you would give the credit to, or has it been team-wide defense that flipped the script in the series?
Well, I think it's been team-wide, but you got to give Drew Holiday credit. And even up to the point in Game 5 where Holiday was absolutely awesome on offense and defense, and he was the best player on the floor, which is saying something, because Devin Booker went off for 40, Giannis looked great, Chris Middleton looked great, but Drew was the best player on the floor. That was offensively and defensively. Up till that, I mean, he had really struggled mightily offensively. It was 4 of 20 in Game 4. And, you're starting to get frustrated as a Bucks fan. But he's really outplayed Chris Paul in the series. And the reason has been, even though Paul's numbers offensively, I think, look a little bit better than Drew's up till last game, it's just that he's one of the best defenders in the sport. I had him on my ballot first team all defense this past year. You talk to NBA players, they think he's the most underrated defender in the league. He's fantastic on the ball defense, and I think you give him a majority of the credit for slowing down Chris Paul, because Paul has not looked the same since Game 1.
So when the Bucks acquired Drew Holiday, didn't feel like he was their number one asset to go acquire, but he ends up with them and people say that's not good enough. That's not a true big 3. Did you have that sense when they acquired Holiday, or did you think, no, you know what, this can be good enough between him, Middleton, and Giannis?
Yeah, I thought it could be good enough because they had the best record in the NBA, and then they upgraded significantly from Eric Bledsoe to Drew Holiday. Even though you didn't see that, I think for the first couple of rounds, because Bledsoe's a fantastic defender himself. He's just incompetent offensively, and really Holiday had been incompetent offensively for much of this postseason. Hit a couple of big shots in Game 7 against Brooklyn, but had been horrible the rest of that game. And then was good, I think, in Game 2 offensively here, but overall has been shooting 40% in the postseason, whereas he shot 50 during the regular season. Prior to last game, he shoot 33% in the finals, and then he went off here in Game 5. But I thought it was big enough just because of the upgrade from Bledsoe to Drew Holiday, and they already had the best record in the NBA the last couple of years. And this is the Drew Holiday they traded for, right? Up until this point, I think the trade didn't work out because Eric Bledsoe could have done a lot of the same things, but this is the Drew Holiday that they traded for. And if he plays like this, the rest of the series is going to be hard to see him losing.
What about Chris Middleton, who's become the second best player on this team? That's a win away from a championship. That's a second-round draft pick. There was a throw-in to the Brandon Jennings deal. Has become this type of player. How has he done it, molded himself into such a dominant scorer when it matters most for the Bucks?
Yeah, it's amazing because he hasn't made an All-NBA team, right? And Ben Simmons has made an All-NBA team. Now, I voted for him for an All-NBA team, not this year, but 2 years ago, when he was on the cusp of 50, 40, 90, I believe, plus 20-plus points, which has rarely been done in NBA history. And I like to call him Jimmy Butler without the PR because I think he's just as good. I think Chris Middleton's just as good as Jimmy Butler. You wouldn't know it because of the way Jimmy Butler is covered compared to the way that Chris Middleton is. But he's a fantastic player, and it's also ironic because you get the LeBron comparisons with everything, right? Well, LeBron, in order to win a championship, what does he need? He needs Dwayne Wade as a top 5 pick and one of the top 5 shooting guards in the history of the sport. He needs a number 1 overall selection in Kyrie Irving, a number 1 overall selection in Anthony Davis that he wins side by side with. That's who he's won his championships with as his wingman. Giannis about to do so with Chris Middleton, who's the 39th overall pick. He's a second-round pick. So I think that's a little interesting juxtaposition as well when you're talking about Chris Middleton, who I absolutely love.
Justin Termody joins SiriusXM NBA Radio. Do you think the Bucks close tomorrow night?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. At home, they're 9-1 in the postseason so far at home, I think the Saric injury has been big just because of the lack of depth at the big man position. I picked the Suns at the outset, but I mean, it's 3 consecutive wins now from Milwaukee, and Giannis is yet to play a bad game. Middleton's been great the last 2 games, and if Holiday just carries over some of this, then I think they're going to close it out. And I should mention Pat Connaughton. Been awesome too because I felt that the Suns had the better bench, but he's actually been the best player off the bench so far in the series. Pat Connaughton.
Giannis had a quote before game number 5 that you tweeted out, that I tweeted out, that a number of people tweeted out because it was so interesting and so impressive. He was talking about not resting on his laurels and said, basically, if I talk about what I've accomplished in the past, that's my ego talking. If I talk about what I'm going to accomplish, that's my pride talking. If I stay in the middle and I'm working hard about what the today is, that's the humility that I need. And it's just one of those very introspective, mature moments that you don't often hear from a 26-year-old superstar athlete. What does that tell you about Giannis and his frame of mind and his maturity and where he is in his basketball path?
Yeah, not only that, it's not like he came out and said that without being asked the question, right? Like sometimes a guy's got an agenda or something like that he thinks is creative that he can throw out there, and it's like, hey, look how smart I am. He didn't bring that to the table. Somebody asked him about it, and then he offered that answer, and he did so. Let's be honest, in his second language. I remember the tweet I tweeted out had to do with interviewing Giannis the day he was drafted. I had no clue who he was. He didn't speak great English. It made for a rough interview, and now he's offering up, comments like that. It's just impressive how far he's come in the last couple of years. And I understand he's an international guy, and sometimes that doesn't maybe work as the face of the league in the States, in America, but I think he should be the face of the league. I think the NBA should be pushing him because there's other guys that are fantastic players, but they're decisive, right? LeBron, he's got his guys that love him and people that hate him. I don't see I can hate this guy, quite frankly. So it wouldn't be a bad idea for them to push him as the face of the league, especially if he gets a championship here to go along with 2 MVPs.
Yep. If he wins a championship tomorrow night, that's probably going to become in Fast and Furious. So I got to ask you this question. I'm at a dinner party 2 weeks ago, actually 1 weekend ago, so 2 weekends ago. And somebody I'm talking to is not in the business, but he brings up that he knows you. And he's like,
Oh, God.
he's like, oh, yeah, so you work in sports media? Yeah, yeah. Now, this guy, he's actually a guy that works selling shellfish to restaurants. He finds oysters and shellfish for restaurants. So he has a really interesting job, but he knows you. I don't know how, but he mentioned, ask Justin the next time that you talk to him about the time that we moved a woman out of her house. It was an apartment. It was like a hoarders episode, and that you guys were hauling boxes and bags, that she had bags of magazines, bags of old magazines, shopping bags, that you were moving out of her house. And you guys were looking at one another like, what are we doing? We signed up to move a hoarder out of her Manhattan apartment. Do you remember this?
Yeah, is this guy's name Keith?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, exactly. All right, I remember him, and I don't know him, very well. We spent, I hung out when I first moved to the city, probably like 20 years ago. This female, who was an acquaintance of both of ours, asked us to move her out. We go there. She's ill prepared to move out. She didn't have any of her stuff packed. So we ended up having to pack it in addition to move it. And it was just a complete disaster. It was completely unacceptable. But it was like a 15-hour day for somebody that I barely knew, but was trying to be nice.
Oh, you signed up to 15 hours in New York City to move somebody out of their apartment. They were a hoarder and you didn't even really know them.
Exactly. And that's the only real connection I got with Keith, who sells the shellfish. Is that's why I remembered his name. I probably wouldn't remember his name if it was not for the fact that we shared such a traumatic experience together.
Yeah, he said he might not remember my name, but he will probably remember this awful moment where we're looking at one another like, why did we sign up for this?
That's funny. Well, if you see him again, tell him, I do remember his name, and I do remember, how it was almost as miserable as doing this interview.
Do you need any sustainably sourced oysters? Justin Termini joining us this morning on the show. You can watch, or you can listen to him rather, on Sirius XM's NBA channel, host of the NBA Today. Always good to catch up, my man. Thanks. Enjoy tomorrow night's game.
Yeah, we'll talk to you later. Farewell. Okay. Enjoy the rest of the fun.
Okay, Justin. Oh, it's great. Every time he comes out, I'm doing fine. All right, yeah, all right, fine. Enjoy the rest of the fun. Almost as miserable as doing this interview with you. Of all the guys to ask to move you out of an apartment when he barely knows you, and then you turn out to be a hoarder, 15 hours, you got to pack her stuff up and move it out. Oh, I've always said I can handle a lot of terrible jobs. I don't know, for whatever reason, I just feel like I could probably withstand a lot of terrible jobs, maybe because I used to have a lot of terrible jobs. But one of the jobs I could never do, I could never be a mover. I know it in my heart of hearts. I could never spend the time to pack somebody else's junk up, see the junk, know it's junk, and then have to take care of the junk so that you don't break it, pack it up, haul it, pick the box up, put it in the hallway, get it down the stairs, into the truck, take it out of the truck, up the stairs, into an apartment, unpack it. I could never do that knowing I've got to do another project at the end of the day. I've got to do another move tomorrow, that my job is moving. Like when I move, it's like the only saving grace is at least I only have to move now, like once. And once I do it, it's over. Now, of course, I might move 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. But at least this job is over now. It's almost over. Imagine moving all of your stuff. And then as soon as you're done going, and now we got to move that stuff. And now we have to move her stuff. And tomorrow we have to move his stuff. And that's my career, is moving other people's stuff. It's the one thing that I know in my heart of hearts I mentally could not accomplish.
Get him out.
You just gave anybody who is a mover who is currently listening to the show extreme anxiety and depression, because maybe, just maybe, they weren't thinking about their lives being that miserable. And now I feel like somebody's sitting on my chest picturing that job.
Movers should be paid as much as humanly possible because it's the job nobody else will do. None of us are willing to do it. It's just like whatever the cost is. Yes, I'll pay it. I'll pay it. No, you shop around to find a lower price, but whatever it is, you will pay it. It reminds me of the Newman line in Seinfeld, where Jerry says, why are all these postal workers going crazy? And he's like, because the mail just keeps coming, Jerry. It just keeps coming. And every day it's more mail. And every day you sort it and you file it and it's more mail and more mail. And it's true. Just imagine a task that has no end. There is no end in sight. It's like, think about mowing your lawn and then think that as soon as you're done mowing the lawn, you can take a break for 5 minutes and then you have to go back to mowing the lawn because the grass has grown that high again. Imagine every task that you do. It immediately has to be done right after that and for the rest of your life. That's moving.
Well, aren't those landscapers, they do that? The grass is always high. Every house they pull up to all week, 10 lawns a day. You are mowing the lawn. That job stinks too.
Yeah, there are always scores for me to read, DA. There's always scores.
I always have a bad take on Twitter daily, and I got to worry about what you're going to say about it every day.
AB has our headlines. Boy, Termini is just the best, isn't he? He's just a sunshiny, airy type of presence in the morning.
Yeah, which is why I just texted him to find out the backstory to this moving thing, because he is not nice enough to help anybody. I mean, he wouldn't help his mom move out of her house. So he and Keith must have been thinking they were getting a girlfriend out of this decision, because there's no other way he was signing up to move a woman out of her apartment if he didn't think like there was some second base in his future.
But what does it say about her? She's down to shellfish guy or the sports radio guy?
Look, when you don't want to move, you'll take anybody to just help you move. All right. So AB, give us the background when you get it. Okay.
Yeah, I will. No text response yet, so maybe we're not as close as I thought we were, as per usual.
Okay.
Headlines, by the way, sponsored by Progressive Insurance, with insurance for cars, home, boat, motorcycles, RVs, and commercial vehicles at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and progressive.com. The Boston Red Sox have slumped into and now out of the All-Star break. Last night's 9-1 loss in the Bronx means they dropped 2 of 3 to the Yankees, 6 of 8 overall. Manager Alex Cora hoping his offense starts producing again soon.
We worked some counts. We didn't finish certain at-bats. There was some walks there, some better at-bats, which is a positive, and we continue to do that tomorrow.
The mini slump has opened the door for the Rays. 7-5 winners in Atlanta yesterday. Tampa Bay is now a half game behind Boston, but we know it's the Yanks who they have to worry about most. They're now 7 back with 4 more coming in Boston this weekend. The Jays are 6 back of the Sox.
As Guerrero swings at the first pitch, drives it deep left field and gone. Number 31 for Vladdy, and it is 7-0.
That's Dan Schulman on the Blue Jays broadcast. That's homer number 31 for Vladdy Jr. Came in a 10-0 drubbing of the Rangers. Toronto won the first game of their doubleheader 5-0. U.S. women's gymnastics dealing with a COVID positive among its alternates. Another alternate is also in isolation right now. The main squad has changed housing and training facility. Coco Gauff has tested positive and withdrawn from Tokyo's tennis tournament. U.S. men's basketball took care of Spain 83-76 yesterday after the U.S. women down Nigeria 93-62. Both teams done with exhibitions in Vegas. They leave for Tokyo today. The men play first Sunday against France. And U.S. men's soccer claiming Group B in the Gold Cup with a 1-0 decision over Canada in Kansas City. That goal came just 20 seconds into the game. The Americans will play Jamaica or Costa Rica in the quarterfinals this weekend in Dallas. DA mentioned this back in hour 1. Oklahoma got a commitment yesterday from high school junior quarterback Malachi Nelson. He's the number 3 QB in his class. Arch Manning is number 1. Colin Morikawa made more golf history yesterday, winning the British Open in his debut after winning the PGA Championship in his debut. No golfer had ever won 2 major debuts before. Morikawa closing with a bogey-free 466 yesterday to beat Jordan Spieth by 2 at Royal St. George's. And the Seattle Kraken expansion draft is Wednesday night. NHL teams had to protect players by yesterday. Blues winger Vladimir Tarasenko, Flames defenseman Mark Giordano, Kings goalie Jonathan Quick, and Tampa's Andre the Giant Palat among those left available. DA, back to you.
I feel like it's going to be really easy to jump on the Kraken bandwagon next year, right? They've got a cool logo, a really cool nickname. Seattle was awesome when the Supersonics were there. Great for the Seahawks. Great when the Mariners are good as well. Feels like it's an easy team to root for.
Totally, because you know the fan base is going to be passionate, and there's so many fun play on words. Let's get it cracking. You could call the fans there the crackheads. You could do all of that stuff. It's going to be fun. They're a fun
Great
name.
nickname.
It's a fun team.
You think that the fan base might want to be called the crackheads?
If you don't think that's coming, those fans, the way they go nuts for MLS, if they don't go nuts for hockey, if you think they're not going to have fun calling themselves the crackheads, you got another thing coming. That arena might be the crack den by the time the Stanley Cup hits.
Now, it's a great point about the Sounders and what they do. I mean, the Sounders, for a soccer team, they get 60,000 people in that building. But I find it hard to believe that the Seattle hockey fans will want to be called the crackheads.
Spelt though K-R-A-C-K.
Well, I think Kraken is K-R-A-K.
Okay, so even better.
Yeah.
K-R-A-K heads, the crackheads.
And you think they're going to want to call the arena the crack den?
No, like the Shark Tank with San Jose when they came to existence. Nobody goes into the crack den and comes out alive. That could be their pun.
Great for kids.
So you think Kenny Albert and Sean McDonough will be introducing us to the crack den coming up next year?
Look, Vegas made a cup in their first year. I mean, I'm just saying the name allows itself to have some fun stuff. And isn't this the arena where the French fries are made out of like urine oil or whatever?
Yeah, urine
Come
oil. You're
on.
all over the place today. Let's go save some more privates too.
Right? They're growing like trees on top of the roof.
I mean, I don't even know. I don't even know what you're referencing there.
I think this is the Bezos arena where everything's like organic, made from like farm goat milk that turns the power on in the building and the lights go on because.
So what does that have to do with the urine?
I just think that they're using aren't they using like garbage and toxic to make other things? It's all about like recycling and making it green. That's the crack den.
Please don't use toxic.
And the expansion draft is Wednesday.
So in the same show, Mraz said that John Sterling's play-by-play call of a guy by the name of Ryan should be Ryan saves his privates, and that the Kraken's arena should be called the Crack Den, the fans, the crackheads, and that they make French fries out of urine.
That's probably a little bit of an exaggeration, but I think there was
Probably.
something that all the food in the arena is being made from like different garbage recycled oils or something.
Man, it's panicking, folks.
Go Seahawks. I can't stress enough. Crack Den would be K-R-A-K though.
I can't stress enough. I want Mraz in a marketing pitch meeting for the Kraken. I got a great idea, but I can't stress enough. This is not spelled C-R-A-C-K, a devastating drug blight on the entire country. I can't stress this enough, guys. It's a different spelling. Get it?
So the Kraken.
Everyone leaves.
You get it, right? You get it. Call me T-Bone.
Hey, T-Bone.
Not saving Ryan.
Saving my other idea is if we have a player named Ryan, when he scores a goal, it'll be saving Ryan's privates. Huh? 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 Is this thing on? When we come back, advanced analytics, epic fail, DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Analytics is just a term that's kind of thrown around a lot.
It's time now for the Mothership's Advanced Analytics.
How much would you pay to be in the building tomorrow night or any night where your team wins a championship? 60% said up to $500, 27% said up to $1,000, 7% said up to $5,000, and 6% said they would spend even more than $5,000. According to one report, the most expensive ticket for a sporting event, $1.17 million. $1.17 million for Game 7 of the 2016 World Series. That was the Cubs and Indians. Mraz says he would look for freebies if his team was in the deciding championship game. The last 3 playoff games he went to were through free tickets. And in 2015, BT offered Pete the Body Mets tickets to the World Series if Pete went to an NLDS game on his own dime. The Body didn't do the deal. So let's get to your epic fail. Here is Mraz's suggestion for what John Sterling should do for a player with the first name Ryan.
Even the DA show is not perfect. We know. Shocking. Here's the epic fail.
Pitch hit in the air to right and deep. Renfroe back on the track, and she is gone. Ryan Lamar lines a home run in the lower seats and right, a 2-run blast, and the Yankees now have a 9-1 lead.
I don't know about you, but he says Ryan Lamar once, and then there's a pause as if he's thinking of something to say, and then goes, nah, I got nothing, and just goes back into a regular home run call.
I love the nightlife, and I like the boogie.
Did he think he had one and then short-circuited and forgot it, maybe?
I think you just got to play with the Ryan more than the Lamar.
Okay, what would you say?
Ryan saves his privates deep to left field.
Ryan saves his privates?
Are you trying to kill
like
Susan?
Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, no, I get the reference, but
His privates would be the Yankee teammates.
I thought you meant like private parts.
Get your head out of the gutter. Ryan saves his privates.
Waka waka.
Privates is in his teammates?
By the way, welcome aboard to our new boss, dealing with the fallout of John saying saving his privates.
Not his privates, John.
Hey, John, Spike Eskin here. First time, long time. Just wanted to go over your
The computer has a keyboard like in a typewriter.
privates call.
The brawl is going on.
Just took over. Every new boss. Didn't love the privates call. Can you walk me through that?
Well, you know, Spike. I had just seen the Steven Spielberg classic Saving Private.
No, I get where the reference comes from.
It's this wonderful World War II movie. You should really see the opening scene. It's really devastating to think about. No, a text message. The terrors of war. So I was.
No, we get that. But the privates part?
No, referencing his teammates. Oh. Are you doing theater tonight?
Epic fail, you loser.
That is why you fail.
Epic fail.
Upside down Mike tweets. You know, the crack then is what some people call West Babylon. Boy, today's show had it all. And now Mraz has to race home to try to get the wallet and keys and laptop back in his wife's hands because he mistakenly took all of them from her this morning, and she can't get to work to complete payroll for her entire department. And to show you the type of respect Mraz has around here, our boss called a Fugazi meeting immediately after the show just to fluster Mraz and make him think he's going to stay here even longer. Mraz went down and paid parking for the extra $5.
So stupid.
Thanks to Sean Mraz, executive producer. Thanks to Pete the Body Bellotti of the Wheels of Steel and audio director. Thanks to Andrew Kaplan, the Wizard of Watch the End. Thanks to Andrew Bogish on your headlines. Tomorrow's a Trash Tuesday and a full-on preview of Game 6 of the NBA Finals, including a Dear District Diaries preview. Be good and be good to one another. I'm Dan. We'll see you tomorrow. The mothership disconnects.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining.